Total
And
gold.
now we're recording.
We're recording.
Can you hear him? In your
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear. Can you hear me?
No, I hear these headphones kind of suck. I'll be honest, but we'll go like this.
Okay.
I can hear him just fine without him, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
In 5 years, this will be on the highlight reel of how it all got started.
That's what I'm saying. See, I figure we're gonna start strong and just
Exactly.
straight up trend from there. The production assistant management. I shouldn't even say assistant production. Anyway, production crew just left. How you doing, man?
Director of production. Doing good, man. Doing real good.
I got to figure out the delay. That's the biggest challenge I've been learning in all this is the delay of, from our to versus, being in person,
Right, exactly.
There's actually, it's not too bad. And I'm seeing there's like a distracting little yellow square that goes back and forth. Anyway.
Yeah, so if I'm talking, the square's on me. If you're talking, the square's on you.
I dig it. So
Yeah,
what's going on with you?
Man, just trying to figure out how to make it during this this quarantine thing, right?
Nice. One crazy day at a time.
It's been one of those things that we haven't really left the house since March. I mean, we took a trip to the beach in May, but that's about it. Just watching everybody out here just lose their minds.
I hear you. So you've been pretty on locked down then? I mean, like as far as I know we personally must support the Instacart business by at least, a percentage point of the overall business.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean,
we don't the amount of people we employ in the driving industry.
Absolutely. I mean, we don't really go anywhere at all. I mean, I'm working from home. This is my setup at the house. Kids aren't in school. So, I mean, I'm not really, the older I get, the more of a homebody I am anyway. So right. I'm not out at the club trying to mix it up and do X, Y, and Z. If I want something to drink, I'll go to the cabinet and get something to drink. And, that's about it.
You go to ball games and whatnot?
So I rolled my season tickets over for the Panthers. So I'm already paid up for next year.
So how does that work for there's nothing coming up this season, right? I mean,
well,
I haven't been following it admittedly, so fill me in.
Yeah. So the way it's working right now is most teams are having reduced capacity at their stadiums.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Bank of America Stadium, where the Panthers play, seats 78,000 people. For the first home game, there's going to be no fans. For the second home game, they're trying to get like 25% of the people in.
But I mean, what? That's going to be at least like 20,000 people.
Yeah, I opted out. I said, you know what? They gave us the option for the season ticket holders to opt out, and so I'm just going to roll my tickets over to next season. So
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do, and then hopefully by next season things will be working. But I was telling my wife, I didn't stay in lockdown for 5.5 months to go to a ball game and then get sick.
I assume that there's the whole mask enforcement at the stadium, maybe.
Yeah, right. If they do let people in, there'll be a mask enforcement at the stadium.
And then the idea, I assume, is you're spread out in the stadium at reduced capacity.
Yep. They were saying they were going to have pods where it would be every third seat. Somebody would be sitting in every third seat, something like that. And then it would be a row in between everybody. So wouldn't be a great fan environment anyway. So I'm like, screw it. I'll just roll it over to next year.
What does that apply to the indoor stadiums?
That's a damn good question. I don't know if they've made that decision yet. Because you think the NFL and the NBA both were in the bubble and baseball's outside, so we haven't had an indoor sport yet to test that out on.
I haven't kept up with sports a lot, admittedly. I don't know what it is. As soon as everything stopped, I kind of stopped my subscription to my TV service.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, obviously there's nothing to watch there.
Right.
Because the only reason I had that service was for all the live events of sports. And so, and I haven't got that back yet. And so I haven't really been keeping track, and which is like, I used to love watching, a ton of Blazer games, but I haven't seen a single one. I heard we did good. I heard it was the Dame show like usual.
Yeah, he balled out. He balled out for sure.
But again, and I am being 100% honest. All I know is that we were playing the Lakers, and I know that we were up on them, I'm just going out on a limb here, and I honestly do not know, but I'm betting that we didn't get through, even despite Dame's amazingness.
That's exactly what happened. Dame got hurt.
God dang.
Yeah, he got hurt.
Can I? Oh, no way. See, that's sad, and that's. I mean, boom.
There you go. There you go.
But honestly, same damn story. So Dame got hurt. That's sad as F.
Yeah, he sprained his finger, and then the next game he sprained his knee, and they shut him down.
Oh, that's no good.
Yeah.
Was it bad, or was it just
no? I mean,
we know we're not going to win.
Exactly. It was one of those things where it would have kept him out for 3 or 4 games, but there was only a couple games left and they were up, so they just shut him down. So
I mean, that's great. I mean, as far as great, like the injury isn't severe,
right?
But I gotta say, as far as I'm gonna move my cam, I don't need to give any undue. I mean, if somebody wants to pay me for the Everlast bag in the corner to represent, then fine. But honestly, I mean, we can't ride the Dame show, and I mean, I feel like I saved myself many hours of viewing. That's too bad to hear. But it's similar. It's that's been our story for several seasons now of riding Dame show for all it's worth, and not. I mean, we didn't throw down and get Anthony Davis. I mean, we could have used the eyebrow. I mean, that would have been sweet.
Right.
Tell me that wouldn't have been.
Oh yeah.
Seeing Dame and the eyebrow coming at you. I mean,
well, I tell you, this is what the Blazers need to do. They need to trade a couple people to Milwaukee and get Giannis. If they got to trade CJ,
I assume he's untouchable, but I mean, nothing's untouchable if you throw a lot of money.
Well, I mean, you think about it this way. Like, I listen to a lot of sports radio. I don't know if that's good or bad, but this was supposed to be Milwaukee's year, and they flopped. They got swept.
Oh,
right?
Really? Okay.
They got swept. They're out. They got swept, and and they're saying that Giannis might not want to stay in Milwaukee.
Like that's ripe for the pickings right there, right?
Exactly. He's got one more year on his contract, and then he can leave as a free agent. But people are saying that teams should try to trade for him. That would be. I
would throw almost everything. I mean, and again, I didn't watch any of this season, but I don't feel like I've missed much. I mean, ask them what they want, and then short of Dame, and I was one of the people, like when I was following it last season. I trade Dame, fine. Start over again. I mean, good Lord, we start over every few years anyway, so
right.
Why not get something for him before he's not worth anything at all, and see what you can do. But assuming that ain't gonna happen, and the whole franchise is built around Dame, and he's in his prime, I assume that there's no way that guy was leaving Milwaukee. The Giannis,
right? He's got 1 year left.
Got to learn his name.
Yeah, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Antetokounmpo, yeah.
Antetokounmpo. So he's got one.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, he's got 1 year left, and he could stay. I mean, they'll be able to pay him more than anybody else. He could stay, but
does he want to? I mean, because he has.
That's the thing. The thing is, he's got nobody really around him.
We would be hot with
that. Would be amazing.
I mean, I mean, stop. I mean, and that's that's the kind of matchup where, assuming that our center is always going to get hurt and we're going to be running some bum out in center because
Right.
whoever our star is always effing hurt. Fine, you still got that big game, and because we never had enough of a threat, 3J and all that. I don't know. I mean, so your team in Charlotte, hoop wise.
Hornets, but I don't follow the Hornets. I'm a Blazer fan through and through.
Are you still? Do you rock it down
Oh,
there? Do people give you shit for that?
Yes.
Good.
I got the shirt. I got the hat. I'll
You go to
rep the
games when they come to town.
Oh yeah, I haven't missed a Blazer game in 11 years. Every year they come to town, I go. Couldn't go this year because the game was in March and it got canceled.
Aside from that, but you're the best. I mean, the only thing I've seen that's better than that, because there are a lot of Blazer fans when I was watching them and they would be on the road. I mean, you'd see a lot of Blazer fans in the stands, especially in quiet stadiums. You would hear like Blazer chants. You'd be like, oh, that's not a good one. No, that they got the good support all around, and that's the thing. You got a player like Dame that people come to see.
Right, destination player.
Yeah, So what did you think about them? What they shut it all down last week, right? Due to like a form of protest over the latest.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think for the first time in a long time, the players are flexing their muscle that they have because they're the labor.
Well, I mean, yes, of course they are, and I mean, but they're a special. I mean, they're an amazing kind of labor. I mean, the amount of swing that they have financially is, I mean, holy crap. I mean, a lot of folks in the labor position can vent, and maybe nobody gives a shit. They've got an amazing platform.
Right. Well, the
and
thing
a lot
is,
of swing.
yeah, it's not like they're like some union worker working on the auto line and they can walk off and you can bring some, $15 person in to replace them. You can't replace the NBA player, So, I mean, like you or I go on strike and they bring somebody else in, trot them in and go. But,
I mean,
these guys, like you said, they're specialized. They are,
No,
they're a different set.
well, we've seen what happens. What was it like when they had an NBA? Wasn't it like a ref strike or not a ref strike?
The lockout.
There was a. Is that what it was? The lockout.
It was the lockout. I think it was 98, maybe 99, something like that.
Yeah, I thought that maybe there's been even more than one. Where again, they. I mean, they are a union. I mean, so, but what? That's the thing. What they did, by shutting down. I mean, I don't know if that was like a union sanctioned event of not playing. That was the players going, "Hey, let's go ahead and show what we can." I mean, hey, you got the platform, and send a message. Actually, unfortunately, it takes that kind of. I mean, that's what people will pay attention to.
Right. I mean, the unfortunate thing is the way things are going in the country. This has been happening for years, and people have been talking about it for a long time, and nothing is really happening. It's only now that something happens in the community and everybody takes notice, and it's unfortunate that somebody getting killed for people to say, hey, we may have a, that's the unfortunate.
Well, and then, like you said, it's something that's been going on for a long time. It's just now where everybody's got a camera in their pocket,
right,
and access to broadcast it to the world, and and in a way, I've been one to say that the internet was almost a mistake because it's given stupid people a platform too,
to be stupid. Yeah.
Well, and for stupid folks to gather and to realize that, like before they were isolated and there wasn't a whole, like everybody else around them was kind of normal. So they stood out as kind of just a stupid motherfucker that had some crazy fucking ideas. and that crazy fucker realized that, and so that's why they lived way the fuck out there all by themselves.
Right.
And they and up until recently they were very isolated, you know what I'm saying? And they had to really go out of their way, I guess, to get together. And when they did, it was really obvious. And now it's become, you know, I mean, any schmuck with a camera and a mic and a website can have as equal platform as anybody.
Right.
And if you're charismatic enough, if you get enough bots behind you, if you have that kind of thing going on, whatever it is, you know, I mean, it's not, I mean, that's too much of this is like a bad damn Tom Clancy book. I don't know how many of those you ever read back in the day, but if you haven't, now they seem cliche and stupid, and they kind of did even then, because you're like, okay, it seems like a bad Jason, you know, even Jason Bourne movies and whatnot, they were all like Tom Clancy novels, you know.
Well, go back to George Orwell. Go back to 1984.
Oh
with
my
Big
God!
Brother,
Now that's just
you know?
like,
I mean, that's like
it wasn't
back
supposed
then.
that was like also, I mean, between that and we've had like a blend between 1984 and Idiocracy as like training manuals for apparently how we're supposed to live, and it's like, no, that was not supposed to be an instruction manual. That was
it was almost supposed to be satire, you know. And now you have
but
and now you have a situation where people, governments, whatever you want to say, have used that as the playbook. You know, this is the level of what people will accept, and let's see how far we can take it from there.
Well, that part, you know, how far you can push it, you know,
right?
And it turns out pretty dang far, and I think it's getting pushed continually right now. So,
I mean, let's talk about what's going on back in my hometown, back where you are in Portland. I mean, you know, you got people in the streets every night, and you know, it's weird seeing it on the news, right? And knowing exactly what street they're on. You know, knowing that I've walked down that street and seeing all that stuff go on. And then when I talk to my mom, she's like, it's in a very isolated part of downtown, and you know, it doesn't really affect daily life. But when you watch it on the news, it seems like it's all over the city. And I'm like, I know that city like the back of my hand, and I know that's like 6 blocks of the town.
It's just funny because, first of all, hopefully your mom's doing good.
Mom's doing good.
You know, just because I talk to a lot of people all over the country for work, and so many of them, that's the first thing, you know, they want to hear talk about. And that's like the only reason they want to talk to me at all. Usually they'd be like, they just hang up on me. But now they want to, hey, you're in that Portland, Oregon I've heard of. And you know, what's going on there? And I'm like you say, you know, I'm not even close to living down there anymore. I live way out on the edge of the burbs.
Civilization.
Kind of. Really, I mean, that's hard to do anymore, man.
Oh, that's true.
I'm just on the edges. I'm just on the edge of the burbs.
Well, where you are now is a lot closer than where it was when you first moved there. The city's kind of come towards you now.
Well, shoot. I mean, the population of this area is just gone. I mean, compared to when we were kids, forget it.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
I mean, when we were kids, this town had a population of like what? I don't know what it was. I mean,
400,000 maybe.
Yeah, this is where, I mean, eventually, like on you know, when we're gonna have the production assistant that looks all this shit up whilst we talk about it.
Yes,
or exactly. I guess, you know, I could just fucking do it right here. I'll get better at that, you know. But that's the other thing I've seen about a lot of shows, though, is that, you know, I think honestly, like just because I'm a sales guy, nobody wants to watch somebody else look at their phone. You know what I mean?
Right.
And just, you know, any constructive criticism, by the way, just lay it out there. You know, I mean, it's a, hey, stop drinking so much, man. Nah, but whatever there is, or if it's you would look better lighting in blue, let me know.
Yeah, I know. Me too. I've got my little magical light here that I can.
Oh, nice.
Yellow. I got blue, and I got
Shit.
white. So I can, and then I have another light that I can put over here that will give me a little bit better light because we look off. Like yours is more natural light, and mine looks more artificial.
I got like the overhead.
Yeah. So I can do a couple things and I can go and adjust that light. I have it set up so that it looks really good in the daytime from when I'm on work calls. And then this room doesn't really have the best lighting. I've got a rogue child out of bed. What do you need? She's telling me if I was set up in the kitchen, it would be the perfect light.
God, aren't kids just amazing?
I know.
Hey, just by the way.
She's like, by the way, if you were set up in the kitchen, it would be the perfect light. No, man, but
that's great.
I mean, the population of Portland right now is.
Oh, dude, I was just about to look it up.
Yeah, I looked it up.
I want to be
4 million.
Well, I'm sorry. Say what now?
2.4 million right now. 25th most populous.
There's 2.4 million live. What, like that's got to be like the whole Portland.
That's the whole metro area. Yeah.
All right. So what was it like in 1980?
Let's see. I don't have 1980. 1990, it was 1.5.
Okay, well, even that. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean that's even after. I would say even in 1990, people would have been complaining about how many like Californians have been moving here.
Right. You got to think about it. 1 million people in 30 years. So you're talking about all the people who died, who moved, and you're plus 1 million in 30 years. That's crazy.
No, it's a lot of folks and not exactly a lot of increased infrastructure, unfortunately.
Right.
That is for sure. Because it's quaint and cute and stuff, I guess. I don't know. I mean, we could have a whole few shows about the lack of Portland infrastructure. Oh my gosh. I'm getting all of my wife's texts of her family between each other on this computer.
Oh, you're on one of those threads.
Stuff. Oh,
yeah.
Man, that's good.
You're getting all the threads.
The baby's doing good, by the way. So we're going to get a few of these knocking out, I guess.
Yeah. We've got a couple of family threads going back here, and it's just kind of like sometimes I'm like, remove me from the thread, but then I can't say that. But man, I'll tell you, the last time I was back in Portland, it wasn't the time I came and saw you guys. It was the time after that when I was there for like 30 hours. I didn't recognize the place. Like, the funny thing is, here's the funniest thing. You remember the hood. You remember my house, my mom and dad's house, right?
Well, I'm sure that looks a little different. I mean,
a lot different.
Those are really expensive houses now.
Oh, so in high school, I couldn't get my friends' parents to let them come over to my house to hang out. And now those kids are buying houses in that neighborhood. I mean, it's just completely flipped.
Oh, yeah.
It's North Portland's like the place to be.
Oh, for sure. And like I don't know if you've ever been out past like Mile House, like, in the burbs there. That's sketchy as fuck. I mean, it's I drove past my old place. I don't know. It was a couple of years ago. We went by it. I would say sketchy as fuck, but it was not like, I don't know, man. I mean, there's some things going on in that neighborhood.
Some unsavory things that, that didn't happen back in the day.
The amount of people that have moved into town, yeah, for sure. And that's fine. I mean, whatever. I mean, I was one of those people. I moved to St. John's, I mean, was what I did. And people were pissed when I did it then. I mean, right. I remember we were looking at houses because that was like 2000, maybe 3 or 4. Like from when we were living on Alberta.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You then when Kel and I bought our first house, and we were looking at like places like in Columbia Villa, and like there's people who are like, really, you're gonna move here, huh? I was like, I was thinking about it. And they're like,
Right. Yeah. Kind of like, yeah. Kind of like,
uh,
is that okay? Like, what's going on here?
so, but I don't know, man. I mean, I get the idea of you're booting folks out. You know, the here's my thing about the word gentrification
Okay.
is and tell me where I'm erring, but it's essentially saying folks are supposed to live in a certain area. Is that an accurate way of describing that word?
So when I hear the word gentrification, um, I look at it more of displacement, right? So I
Okay.
look at it like for example, take my old neighborhood, right?
Right.
Kirby, right?
Right.
So you had people. Well, let's back up. Let's back up. Vanport, right? You know the history of Vanport, right?
For sure. For sure.
So at a
Red line
certain
district, right?
yeah, exactly. So at a certain point in the history of Portland, if you had skin tone like me, you could only live in Vanport. That's the only place in Portland you could live, and there was a red line drawn around Vanport.
Oh.
Vanport flooded. That kind of put everybody all over the city.
That's the only thing that changed the red line district.
Only thing that
Goddamn.
changed it. So then, my parents moved to Portland in the 70s, in the late 60s, early 70s, when I was coming along, and moved into North Portland. And then you look at North Portland now, and then this is where the gentrification comes in. Historically, African American part of town is not historically African American part of town anyway. Some people see it as progress. Some people see it as gentrification. I see it as a lack of opportunity for people to purchase those houses, because a lot of people in my mom and dad's neighborhood, we owned our house. Everybody else in my neighborhood was renting.
Right. Right.
So then you had landlords who were like, hey, this house is worth $600,000 and these people are paying me $900 a month. I'm going to kick them out and sell it.
See, and that right there is the point. Because from from an ignorant view, I guess I'd say, like you say, you go, oh, it's progress because values are going up, and the homeowner's getting paid. But the disconnect right there is that you're assuming that the person living there is the homeowner, which they
Right.
almost all
are not.
Always not.
They're not the homeowner, unfortunately.
Right. And so then like you say, there's your displacement. Yeah, no, that's and then you've got a wave of folks there that moved
from somewhere else.
Suburbs. A lot of them moved to the suburbs because that was the cheap spot to live, right? Because now suddenly where they were to live was really expensive. So out you go to the burbs. And I this kind of back and forth of where the value lies. But now, like in this town now, I'm way the hell out in the burbs, and everything is expensive.
Yeah.
Things are more expensive in other places. Yes.
Portland's a pretty expensive town.
Oh my God. But I mean, like there are certain parts of Portland that are more expensive than others, and the burbs are generally cheaper than in town. I think that's accurate.
Unless you're on the west side on the burbs, Beaverton, Hillsborough.
I could see that. That's probably expensive as fuck.
The east side has traditionally always been a little bit less expensive for whatever reason.
Yeah, I would kind of agree with that.
Hey,
south, that's expensive.
Right. And not to derail you, but I think the worst thing that ever happened to Gresham was the Max.
Did you mean to do that?
Did I mean to do what?
You didn't mean to derail me, but the worst thing was.
I
mean, come on.
Boom.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, yeah, no. But I mean,
No, I hear you. And believe me, there's a lot of folks that were I remember as a kid, you know, I mean, people were not thrilled. Some folks were thrilled about it, but hearing other people were not. And as a kid, I didn't really get it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I do, though. You know, if the max is the whole problem of your whole damn city, then you got that. There's bigger problems.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
I'm to the point now, and I've always been this way. Fuck, to the point. I mean, I've always been this way. That spending umpteen fucking billion on a jet or a fucking warship,
Mm-hmm.
or 18 of them,
Mm-hmm.
but yet I got to worry about a mass transit system that's supposed to be a positive being a negative because too many fucking homeless people.
Right.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And again, that makes sense in a shithole third world country.
Right.
But I had that whole American exceptionalism thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I've learned lately. It's because it's taken a bit of a kick in the teeth, that idea for me. And I think for a lot of folks that look like myself that have gotten off pretty smooth no matter what, not no matter what, but it is what it fucking is. I mean,
right. Yeah.
You know, I have always had this unerring view that our country is amazing, and all the stuff that we were fed of how it was supposed to be, and the everybody is equal and wonderful and fuck yeah. And I've been disabused of that idea ever since.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with at the time that those things were put in place, everybody was kind of in control and compartmentalized. Everybody was playing their role. And what's happening now is a lot of people aren't playing the role that they were playing 20, 30 years ago. You got people kind of crossing over from one side to the other, and it's making a lot of people uncomfortable.
Yes, but I guess just from my personal perspective of how utterly disappointed I am with my country as a whole right now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not as a whole, because that starts. That starts to start doing this blaming both sides bullshit. Which
right.
I can talk about that, and I will, and I'm happy to. But that's not the trajectory I'm trying to go on right now. The level of I don't even recognize the fucking world I live in right now.
Right.
You know, and that feeling there that's so foreign to me, I think is not so foreign to a lot of Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I didn't realize until recently.
Right. That kick in the teeth you're feeling, some people have felt that for a generation or two.
And here's the thing, is that I think, you know, anybody can feel like they've been kicked in the teeth. Because, I mean, that right there is the motivational speaking that has got us our current leadership. That do you feel like shit? Do you feel wrong? Do you feel like you've been done wrong by and you can't fucking get ahead? Well, you know what? There's a reason for that. It's that fucker over there. Let's go get him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that shit was. Yeah. You know, I used to joke about that because that's what I understood happened in the 30s in Europe.
Right. Yes.
I used to make a very big basic joke. Just, you know, that's what it was. Boiled all down to was, here's a real simple way that all that shit happened was one guy got up there, started yelling and screaming a bunch. But one thing he united everybody was, you feel like you've been done wrong. You feel like your lot in life sucks because currently in their day, it did.
It did. Yeah, it did suck.
And it wasn't even that. That's what's so different about now. I mean, this fool drove us into the ground, and then it wants to rally everybody around. Watch me fix what I drove into the. Oh my fucking god!
Right. Well, it was in the 30s. It was, your life is in a shithole place right now, and these are the people to blame. Let's go and get them. And
right.
Everybody rallied around that because it felt good to say, it's not me. I'm not self-aware. It's somebody else. It's their fault. They're the reason why I can't do X, Y, or Z. Let's get them.
The thing that is, I mean, they came off a war in that to get that perspective. I mean, like they came off of World War I and were so heavily penalized as a country, Germany.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it destroyed their whole country. The reparations that they had to pay to all of Europe for World War I, which, I mean, dude, you fucking got out of hand there, guys. I mean, you know, but it destroyed them so hard. You know, I mean, that's, you know, what he fed on was they were in that destroyed state, which is what is, it was the same motivational speech 4 years ago when things, in my opinion, were pretty good. Maybe, but that's the thing. They weren't good. I guess they weren't good for everybody, but that's what gets me so much. You know, it's also damn relative. And that's what gets me, is because so many folks that are bitching so hard are on goddamn boat armadas with, 900 fucking president flags.
Right.
And you're like, dude, you're like, what are you bitching about? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Life is so good, you're on a motherfucking boat, you know? I mean,
well, but when you think about it this way. So you and I come from different backgrounds. And at a very young age, we connected on a real deep level to where we understood each other like no other, right?
Sure.
But growing up, we came from very different backgrounds. And you look at some people with these boat armadas who they look back to the grandfather, the great-grandfather, the dad, and they were used to having all the pennies, like no pennies for anybody else. And now those pennies are being spread out, and they're like, chance in hell, I'm going to let that go.
But they're not even being spread out, you know? I mean,
but remember,
it's not like
reality is not reality. What you see is reality,
And that's, like what we started talking about, like the internet, fucking curse, I mean, that's what it's just done. The internet has so distorted reality, which is a bummer. But the positive side is that it's been things like a supercomputer in everybody's pocket with the ability to live stream a fucking event where if your local news is a little bit too caught up on the latest stupid bullshit that whatever's going on,
right,
dude, I can type in whatever's going on wherever I want to see it, and there's a live stream dude on the ground live streaming what's happening,
right.
And like you say, there's been, I was gonna say, I mean, there's been these things going on here in Portland, like, every night for however long. And I know that they've been, here we go, more stuff about the baby. There's been a lot of this going on in a lot of places, and it's so funny that, I mean, that what it reminded me of a little bit is like when the Rona first started spreading around.
Yeah.
And I would get, I would call folks, hi, I'm from Portland, Oregon. That's where that virus is. You guys are all shut down. I'm like, you don't think it's coming your way, fool? I mean,
the virus doesn't recognize a border.
Man, but neither does, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, all of what's going on here, all the riots, I fucking hate calling them riots. All the protests going on downtown, they're not just limited to here. I mean, fuck, look
Right.
what happened in Wisconsin. I mean,
Yeah, it's
there's
everywhere.
protests everywhere that we get so much fanfare for. I don't understand why, really. I honestly don't. I mean, fucking A, there's cops that look like soldiers in every city in this country, and there's protests in, maybe they're not going on every night in the country, but I mean, they're out there, I'm sure.
Yeah, no. Let me go back to something you said a minute ago. Let me put this thought in your head. I want to get your opinion on this about the internet being a curse.
Blessing and a curse. I'll go that far.
Blessing and a curse.
There you
Think
go.
about this. So all of the dumb shit that's going on that people are live streaming right now. I don't know that the internet created that or if the internet exposed that, because there was things that were going on before that we never had a window into that now we do. And people are emblazoned and emboldened to do it. Now, some of that is copycat and I want to get famous.
Nah, but okay.
Do you see where I'm going with that, though?
I might, but so here, just because I'm impatient and
Yeah,
I'm buzzed. all of the shit that we saw. I mean, and I mean, I'm not even counting all the crazy shit you might have seen just in your neighborhood growing up. That's I didn't see any of that, and I saw a little bit of weird shit in my neighborhood, but anyway, just the amount of stuff that I know that we both saw where we worked for a combined total of however many years.
Right.
We saw a lot of fucking crazy shit.
Absolutely.
And if we were able to have a, along the way, that might have been some good content.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah.
fuck's sakes. When I was at the mall, one of the guys got hold of like the main mall security guys had their own office, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we would go get video from there for like our case.
Right.
But my man, Jesse, would just say, fuck that. And he would make his own copy. And this was like way back in the day where this was a little bit more new and raw and able to do this. Anyway, he had a fucking mixtape, video clip tape. Oh my God, it was glorious. I wish I still had that. I mean, they had me jumping over a couch. I mean, they had him running through the parking lot, like a girl bouncing off a car. I mean, just the crazy shit that happened there. Like, I mean, think about the record store, man. I mean, oh my God. Because I know that we have to be limited with the names that we say because
exactly.
Although fuck, they ain't around anymore, right? Fuck.
They went out of business, but I don't want to give them any kind of plug. But we worked at a record store.
No, fuck them. So,
yeah.
Think about. I mean, if you would have had a body cam.
Oh man.
What was that, by the way? Was that medicine or was that daddy's medicine?
So Avery
that was like
had
some yellow shot shit, huh?
No, she wanted a popsicle, and I just cut it off in half, and it was melting, and I didn't want it to melt, so I just drank it. So yeah.
All right, sorry.
But I mean, you're good. But I mean, if you think about some of the the stories we could tell on here.
Oh, dude. I mean, I'm saying like if you had like a body cam at the record store.
Oh. I mean,
just from like a crazy, encounters.
Well, think about the time I got jumped. Remember the guy? I don't know if you were working that day. The guy came in with the baby carrier, him and his girl, and they started putting tapes, not CDs, tapes. That's how long ago this was.
Yeah, I know. For the folks out there, now I hear you.
Yeah, we're old guys. I got gray hair. They started putting tapes in the baby carriage. You know the thing you carry the baby, and there was no baby in there, by the way. And I am like, what the hell is going on? They had a blanket over it, so I couldn't see it. They go outside. I go to stop them. Turns out there's no baby in there because dude threw it down. The getaway car pulls up, and 3 dudes come out and jump me.
Yikes. Yeah.
Right in front of the store. If I'm wearing a body cam, I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff.
Man, I'm still remembering like being on the car with the dude and like Jay walking by, just looking at me. Holy shit. No.
Oh man, just
but as far as like
yeah.
the only thing about the web with, like I say, I mean, you used to be like Crazy Larry with your crazy shit, and here's my Crazy Larry newsletter that you might get if you went to the wrong part of wherever the fucking woods or whatever,
Right.
and you went to the gas station. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's where you would get that kind of stuff. Now that guy's got 1 million followers or whatever.
Exactly.
And they can coordinate. I mean, dude, the fucker that showed up here and what happened? They arrested him. He pepper sprayed some. I think it was one of the guys that pepper sprayed somebody. It was not the guy that got shot and killed, but it was one of the guys that showed up and he pepper sprayed the Antifas, which we can talk about that for a moment, by the way, because let's just be clear about that. But anyway, so this guy drove all the way from Texas or flew.
Yeah.
Got with all his combat gear and paintball gun.
Right.
Because again, and this is something that, I mean, just briefly, with the police with all these less than lethal, what a bunch of BS this is.
Absolutely.
By the way, and suddenly they have free reign to use that shit like it's just giving out candy. I mean, it's just crazy that we were held to a higher standard than fucking cops are.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Well, I think of this. So this whole like people getting killed is really like personally hurt me. Like I can't deal with it. Right. So you remember, we didn't know each other then, but we're the same age. We were 14 when my brother got killed by the police. Right. I look back and think, what would have happened if somebody had a cell phone at that time? What would have happened? I don't know. I'm glad CNN and Fox News weren't around then because my family would have been dragged through the mud. So I agree with you. I mean, there was a news story in the paper every day. There was something on the news at night, but nothing like what's going on now, where people are camped out in front of your house waiting for you to walk out.
Man, that's I mean, in a way, again, the pros and cons, I guess, that the internet can give the people that platform to get that out there, and that that they can even do that after something like that happens. I mean, I mean, to be able to get up and even talk, let alone be out in front of folks and encouraging, but I don't see, that's the positive that I'm trying to see from any of this, is that, this does give such a big, wide broadcast of it, that so many people are, I think more people are becoming aware of it, just due to the fact that everybody is always on their phone, and this kind of stuff is always, like you say, I mean, with your example with your own brother. I mean, it was in the news here locally for a minute, but I mean, something like that today, I mean, I don't know, would that be more nationally, internationally?
I mean, unfortunately, yes.
Whether you wanted it to be or not.
Whether you wanted it to be or not. I mean, it changed the whole trajectory of my family, obviously, something like that. I mean, I don't know if I ever even told you about this, but when I was in the 7th grade, And when my sister-in-law was suing the city and the cops, the police would follow me to school every day on my bike. They were waiting for me or my other brother to mess up so they could use it against us in court. Now, I was shielded from all this. I was 14, 15 years old, 16 years old. But my older brother was in his 20s. Right. And he got pulled over once a week, and they would tell him, we're going to get you. You're not going to get us. We're going to get you. We're waiting for you to mess up. Now, if somebody in his car had a phone and recorded that, it would have been something different, because we could never prove the stuff that they were doing because there wasn't the capability to do it.
Right.
But now, do the positives of all this technology outweigh the negatives? That's a fantastic question. I think you bring up a very interesting point there, that, you know, having all of this ability to have 1,000 followers and spout hate and your weird views out there is one thing, where before, like you said, it'd be on, you know, crazy old man Larry's property, and, you know, there's 20 people over there and they're doing whatever, versus him getting on a stream like us and having 10,000 people watching.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know, man. I go back and forth on that. You know, I look at things in a way that, like, you know, I got kids, and what do I want their experiences to be? You know, my 11-year-old's got a TikTok account. I don't know if that's good or bad. You know, she can't post anything without me approving it. So she can record videos, but she can't. I have to. It's linked up so that if she wants to post anything, I have to physically approve it. You know.
So, like, I mean, and I've not been on that service. I've only seen shows that show clips of, you know, like, you know, here's a wild clip from TikTok. Like, are there filters in that regard? Is it like, you know, I mean, because even the YouTube, I'm to the point with, you know, my kiddo that it's, I mean, you know, it's just, I mean, I don't know, it's just, I mean, how much time can you spend trying to monitor what the hell they're watching? Because if you put the parental guide on, like, almost nothing comes up, you know.
Right.
You can watch some Dora the Explorer. So yeah, so then, okay, so then talk to me. So what does your kid put on the TikTok?
Videos of her and her friends dancing. They'll record the dance together and choreograph it, and stuff with the cat. I mean, very 11-year-old appropriate stuff.
Okay.
Which I probably got 2 or 3 more years before that changes. You know, you hit 13, 14 and things change. I remember being that age myself. But
well, and that right there, that right there. I just try to imagine what I would have done if I'd had a phone when I was a kid. What would you have done? What crazy shit would you have done?
Oh, all the crazy nights in Gresham, we probably would have put it on Snapchat and filmed it, and then when we tried to get a job 10 years later, somebody would have found it.
Dude, oh my God. I mean, honestly. But even that weird, how folks don't understand. I mean, people come, to me, it would make more sense from folks like our era or older to fuck up and put something on the internet because they don't realize, oh, the whole world can see this shit. I thought I was just sending this to my
friends,
whoever. But like, people that have grown up with this stuff, how do they fuck up and put fucked up shit like on their, I mean, if you make a Facebook, again, I've never had one. I've never even clicked on that fucking site. I think that I ought to get like a fucking merit badge for that shit. But like, if your Facebook page is Stony McGee 6969,
right,
then fine, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, fuck that, because I mean, dude, we'll do a whole fucking show about why fuck Facebook. But sorry if you're a big fan. But people don't. People put their real name, from what I understand. You put your real name, and I mean, it's crazy. It's like sorry, it's tangent, but it's like the fucking the DNA tests. You want to know
Right.
where you come from?
Right.
Here's a thing. Pay me, send me all of your personal information, your most sacred personal information, all of it. I'll tell you a little bit of stuff and I'll send you a cute certificate. But now I own all this stuff.
Right. Now I have your DNA.
I mean, holy shit.
I've got you.
Dude.
If technology, I could clone you theoretically. And essentially,
I
you
assume that's
voluntarily
some
given.
NDA. I mean, you know, by the way,
Right.
I just, it blows me away. I mean, I get it. I'm curious about where I come from too. I'm guessing it's somewhere in Europe. But not so much that, you know, fuck that. Or if you want it, you better be ready to pay me a bunch for it, because
Right, exactly.
I know that.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, the thing about social media is that girl in high school that was like, look at me, look at me, look at me. And
for everybody though. Like everybody, that's the whole idea, right? Is that you're on it and you're like, I mean, which I get it, that's fine. And I get the connection thing, because like my mom, who is elderly, loves the Facebook. Loves the Facebook. All my friends are on it. Groovy. Sweet. If there wasn't such, and sorry to interrupt, but if there wasn't such a massive sway of propaganda that's funneled whichever way it needs to be, and there's just no filter on it whatsoever, and people now get, I mean, like, there's no Walter Cronkite, there's no Dan Rather, there's no, you know,
we don't have an America's newsman anymore. You get your news from, you know,
you get your opinion from somebody, you know what I'm
right.
saying? I mean, the news used to be, here's a thing that happened. I mean, god dang, what the shit happened to that? Here is the thing that happened. There's no
opinion,
man.
There's no, it's not
that
like
was called the
Face the Nation or the Sunday morning show, or
well, they either called it like the opinion piece.
Oh yeah, the guy that would stand up at the end, the editorial.
There you go. Boom.
Editorial.
You know what I mean? But and that was the opinion piece, and that's where you're like, hey, here is a very blatant. We're cutting from us talking about what's actually happening. Cut. Here's Ed with his fucking opinion. You know what I mean?
And that's all it is now. That's all it is.
But it's all disguised as news.
And
you're like, no, that's bullshit. That's no. I mean, even my old man, when he was still alive, called it Fox Opinion Channel. And I'm like, yes. And fuck, if you even look at their terms of service, they call themselves an entertainment channel.
Yes. But the problem is some people take that as stone cold news.
Well, no shit, because I mean, look at how they present it, dude. I mean, if we were allowed to put a little thing in the corner, here's my finger, boom.
Yeah.
If we could put a little thing right there, it says like our news. You know what I'm saying? Which I suppose we fucking could.
We could, yeah.
But Jesus, I mean, that's what I'm saying, and there needs to be some standards. And I guess, you know, here's the thing. This is where I show what a raging liberal I am, I guess, which is so fucking stupid because, I mean, dude, depending on who's asking me, I'm like the most conservative person ever. It's funnier than shit. People are like, oh my God, you're so fucking, people think you must vote for fucking Trump. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Just because I have an opinion.
How could I be so far off from, I mean, like, I think like I'm decent at communicating with people, but boy, I swing and miss sometimes.
Here's the deal. Us Gen Xers, I'd like to think we've got our heads screwed on straight. We've been through some shit, right? We've seen the shit our parents have gone through.
You
know, well, here's the deal. the millennials the millennials grew up with one of these in their hands, right? They did. They grew up with this thing in their hand.
Sure.
Our parents are just now learning how to work them, right? My dad passed away 10 years ago. Your dad passed away around the same time. Both of our moms are still alive. My mom's got a cell phone. She still doesn't know how to work it. Anyway, she gets on Facebook, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
But I would like to think that I don't want other people to be able to label me as what I am, because at the end of the day, I like to think that I am in the party of doing right by people. You know, common sense.
But
right?
that's the thing, is that you have to, I mean, and that's all swell, but I mean, anymore, we're at the position now where it's like, there is no, they're either on, it's just one or the other. I mean, there is no in between, you know, and
I don't think
that
it
is
has to be that way, man. I don't think it has to be that way.
I wish it didn't, but I'm just saying it is right now. And it fucking is. There's either one right now or there's the other, and you just get to make a choice, and that's how it fucking is. And you know, maybe next time around there will be a better option or a third option or all this kind of stuff. I'm all for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm all for a third choice or a fourth choice or a fifth choice. I'm all for getting rid of an archaic, you know, electoral college idea. I think that's ridiculous. I'm for a lot of those things, you know, but we're not there right at this very second. Right at this very second, like within, good God, what, 6 weeks?
90 days? Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Right.
It's just one or the other. Well, it's just one. Hell's already broken loose, man. I mean, come on. I mean,
oh no, I think some
it's
more
just,
shit's gonna go down between now and then. Just
oh,
to
of
be
course it
completely
will.
honest with you, it's gonna get
Of course
crazy.
it will. No, of course
know?
it will, dude. And you know, I mean, keep your head down, and you know, all of that. Fucking A. It's gotten. I mean, dude. There's no sane person, if you would have talked to them 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You describe what's going on now.
They wouldn't believe you.
You fucking kidding me?
Yeah, they wouldn't believe you.
You fucking kidding me? I mean,
yeah, no way.
So yeah, I mean, but like the, you know, as far as like, you know, our system, I wish there was a third. I've always, fuck. I mean, dude, I voted for fucking Ross Perot my first time around.
I remember that.
Right?
I remember us talking about that.
I am all for it, but I'm just saying we are not there right now. We're just not. We're at a point right now where it's one or the fucking other, and I just, it's frustrating that you know, because I don't see how you could still be on board. I don't know how you could ever. I don't know how you could ever fucking follow that snake oil salesman to begin with. I mean, Donald Trump was a fucking joke. I thought everybody knew that.
Right.
I mean, fuck,
he was a reality TV show.
We
guy.
are like young people compared to him.
Right.
And I thought it was like fucking Rodney Dangerfield being fucking president. Like, what the fuck what are you? That's a joke, right? That, I mean, are you honestly fucking kidding?
Yeah.
That's the craziest thing
and
ever said.
I have lost
Here we are.
some real good friends over this, because some of the stuff that they have said,
I don't know how you support this stuff. I mean, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Well, see, no. Here's what it comes down to. This is what I've talked about with everybody. All this stuff that's going on has been under the surface for 20 years, and there just hasn't been that guy in office that's given people the freedom that they can go out.
There ain't supposed to be.
No, I get it, dude. In Charlotte.
Oh man,
I can go down the street and there are people who are proudly flying a Confederate flag and everything it represents.
Out fucking here in Sandy. I'm telling you, and you're like,
Oregon, dude.
At least those guys there, they could say their stupid heritage.
Right.
Wrong, and you're stupid.
Oregon wasn't even a state when the Confederate flag was around.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, considering what we talked about earlier with, you know, red line districts and stuff, I mean, fucking A, we were every bit a part of it. I mean, maybe not a part of it.
I know what you mean.
We were certainly
the ideals.
We were sure sympathetic. I mean,
yeah.
we were, you know what? Oregon was like the fucking Argentina after World War II.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
Boom. That just.
You nailed it. You nailed it.
Tell me.
Yep.
I don't give a fuck. That's a gold star.
That's it. Everybody from the South went right there. You're right. Argentina. Yeah.
I'm telling you. Where the fucking art? God damn it! I need to.
That's good.
If I did the social, I'm telling you, I should pound. I don't know what hashtags are and shit.
No, I'll do a Twitter
Or
account.
literally,
I'll do a Twitter account, and I will put that out there.
I don't know how you would word it. Oregon is Argentina.
So you do a math equation.
Confederacy. I don't know how the fuck you say it.
Yeah. You do a math equation. Oregon equals Argentina.
Math equation.
Right. Oregon equals Argentina. Germany equals. We'll do a math equation. But you're right. But I mean, I can. I mean, not even outside the city limits.
Man, J.R. Ryder.
He said it 20 years ago.
Fucking longer than that.
Yeah, 25 years ago. Dude, so I go to the NASCAR race. You can't do it now, but you go to the NASCAR race, that's all it was Confederate flags. Right?
I mean, and how much does that have to hurt their fucking feelings to not be able to use it, to fly that shit now? I mean, are seriously people fucking pissed? Like,
they're losing their minds. They are losing
really?
You would think that someone walked into their house and stole their dog.
But dude, I mean, those are two things. I mean, and you know what? Some things just got to go. They just got to go. Because riddle me this, Batman. If I could, I would. It's just outside in the hall, and I'll go get it if you fucking want. I got a lunchbox from when I was a kid. Metal, the kind that you would fuck somebody up with that they had to ban, right?
Yeah.
Dukes of Hazzard, my favorite fucking show.
Yeah.
I love that show.
Yeah.
Car smashes through everything.
Right. Badass.
Right. So I feel kind of weird having my kid going, hey, what's that on the top? And I'm like, fuck, that's a long question. There's a lot going on right there. And
that's a lot
fucking
to unpack.
Should I not just have this right? Should I not even have this out at all?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm asking, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, how do you
throw that thing in the fucking trash?
I think it's a learning opportunity, right? Because I mean, you look at your kids and you look at my kids, right? They're the same. They got a biracial background, right? Mm-hmm. So they have a lot to be proud of on both sides, and they have stuff to be ashamed of on both sides, right? Just like we all do, right? I think it's an opportunity to explain at this time, this is how people felt and this is how they represented it. Now, this is not... The only thing I
would ask about is like, they don't have anything to be ashamed of.
Well, you know what I mean.
Only but on one side, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I mean...
Unless there's something I'm fucking missing, then tell me about it.
No. I'm just saying, if you go back far enough in everybody's heritage, there's some
stuff
now,
okay, I dig it. I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
And that's the kind of, and honestly, yes, fine. Humanity has been fucked up to each other since there's probably been more than a couple of us around.
Right.
Fine. But I mean, now is the thing. Cause like we used to have a flag, hanging in the house. And I've never really had one before, and I hate all this. I don't like all this fucking uber patriotism shit. Right. I don't like. I'm not a big fan of like seeing the flag everywhere I fucking go. You never used to fucking see that.
Right.
It used to be. What? 4th of July, Memorial Day,
Labor Day.
Whatever,
Veterans Day, that's it, 4 or 5 times a year.
Yeah. But like I said, I mean, even out here, I mean, people flying their big, huge flags on their trucks, and there's been plenty of fucking Dixie flags, whatever the fuck, Confederate flags, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's been out here forever. I mean, you know that. You've seen that out here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, fucking, hey, you've been out in the burbs plenty.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Dude, there was a truck, goddamn, they had a fucking, the coexist.
Yeah. With the,
as like all those religious symbols and shit.
Yep.
And a fucking Dixie flag.
Really?
Is that just keeping Portland weird? Is that what that is? Is that Portland irony that
I guess so, man. I don't know how you reconcile that one.
you,
I don't know.
because I've had grown ass people, man. I'm gonna tell you this story, and I don't know how much more time you got. I will fucking talk. Honestly, I'm having a blast, by the way.
I'm good.
But I talked to grown ass people. I was on a bike ride in the woods outside of town. And it's a place that is a destination bike riding area. Okay. People come from fucking Canada and Utah and shit to ride their bikes here, specifically just to ride here. And I was at the top of the trail and talking to some folks like I used to do. I don't now. I fucking try to avoid them. People, what do people say now? Like you used to be able to say like you can avoid it, like people avoid it like the plague, but you can't say that anymore because people don't.
Right.
But anyway, so like I would talk to folks and you know, I was talking to them about, they were talking about the, you know, oh, the beautiful forest. And I'm like, yeah, it's beautiful. I was like, it's amazing that it was all logged at least once, probably twice actually by now.
Yeah.
And they were like, you know, they were like, oh God, right? You know, and again, these people were easily 45 years old. They were easily my age or older. You're our age or older. They have, I saw them driving up. I mean, they drove a vehicle. They operated a motor vehicle. So there's your mental capacity. They could drive a vehicle all the way to, from town to, and there's also some moral of the story here. So they drive from town
out to the trail,
out to the trail to ride their very expensive mountain bike, just like we all have very expensive mountain bikes, out on the woods. And they said, "Oh my God, you know, you can't, you logging is terrible." And I'm like, "Well, that's a whole."
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of why I brought it up, because I love talking about it because it's fun.
Right.
And so and he's like, but he looked at me with a straight face and he goes, "Man, just tell me that you're not logging at the vortex." I said, "I don't know specifically. Where's that?" He's like, "Oh," he's like, "That's where Squatch comes through."
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. All right.
What the fuck am I supposed to say to that?
I don't know what you're supposed to
do. It's a grown ass man with his fucking woman standing next to him going, amazing. And these people vote. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I mean, that's your person that by themselves, they were just some kooky fucking nut. But who knows what fucking websites they're subscribed to, and holy shit, what other folks they're linked up with, and there's you know what I'm saying,
right?
And that we amplify stupid, crazy people, because I get it, you know, we all love to look at the train wreck or the car wreck.
Yep, can't look away from it. It's like a bug. It's like a bug to a light.
Well, I mean, that's what gets clicks. That's what gets views. That's what gets the news, whatever. So, you know, but damn, you know, when we amplify the stupid out there just because it gets the clicks, I mean, I don't know that that's doing humanity a service at that point.
I mean, I get you. Let me derail you for just a second. Alex Jones. Right? Okay.
Man.
All right, Alex Jones. So, was there an Alex Jones before the internet? Probably going to say yes.
Fucking Art Bell.
Right? Okay, Art Bell.
But Art Bell, but that's disrespect to Art Bell, because Art Bell would give a kook the time on the air for a moment, and when you went super into cuckoo land, you go, cool, cut you off, next caller, and he might go, hey, that guy was real, or you know, that if he was going to be nice, he would say that's interesting,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But if it was really fucked up, I mean, you know, it wasn't even getting on the air. You know, I mean, I'm all for hearing about fun stuff. I used to work fucking graveyards. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Oh, I know. Yeah.
All there was AM, and I mean, dude, that passed the time. I listened to hours and hours and hours of it. But it
Well,
was
here's my point.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, here's my point. Is Alex Jones dangerous?
Yeah, he's a fucking nut.
Right.
And,
So obviously he's more dangerous with the bigger platform of the internet.
of course,
Right.
for sure.
So, but being as much of a kook as he is with the platform that he has, does that destabilize his argument? Because do people look at that and go, this guy's a kook?
No, because that's the thing is
You know?
he's appealing to the people that can't fucking make the difference. He's appealing to the lowest common fucking denominator. That's the problem. That's what got us here last election cycle, was appealing to the lowest common denominator. What is one thing that everybody has in common? Not everybody, like what George Carlin's got a quote that I'll fuck up right now. That think about like average intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
That means 50% of the people are dumber than that.
Right. That's striking.
Right?
Yeah, that's striking.
But if you're appealing to, say, super great ideals, you know, really, I mean, fucking hey, dude, I'd love the Green New Deal. I mean, quite frankly, I mean, sorry for here's a tangent. I think that, you know, there was such an opportunity missed in when the world went to shit in 2008, just financially. I think there was such an opportunity missed to have another like works project like there was after the Depression in the 20s and 30s that got the whole country going.
The Eisenhower.
Oh my God,
what he put
socialism.
together.
But it wasn't socialism because people are fucking working. That's not socialism, man. You're paying people to go to work. How is that fucking socialism? That's fucking ridiculous. Just because, I mean, if you paid people good ass money to go pave a fucking road or to build a place like Timberline Lodge.
Right. Or to build a bridge.
How do you think they got people to build Timberline Lodge to put like wolf heads as the fucking doorknobs on every fucking door?
Because they paid them.
Because they're fucking crazy ass craftsmen that were up there doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know if the craftsmen would have been showing up if it wasn't worth it. And I don't know what the scale was back in the day in the Depression, what they paid people in the works projects. But all I'm saying is that like in 2008, like I thought that was such an opportunity missed to do something like that. And considering how ridiculous anything like law is now, that, you know, to be able to do something like that, which I assume is what terrifies a large contingent of voters, the idea of, you know, the next administration coming in and making big sweeping changes as they see fit without giving a fuck about what anybody else says.
Right.
Because who gives a shit, you know? And but you know what? Fuck it. I mean, what an opportunity, you know? I mean, to you know, revive the entire infrastructure, to, you know, switch from, you know, fucking non-renewable resources. I love my car, by the way, which that's a whole fucking other thing I wanted to ask about, because I don't even know if I fucking need my car anymore. And what a waste of money. But but what an opportunity. And we missed it last time.
No, here's the deal.
And we'll probably miss it this time around too.
The opportunity is there because I haven't been back home in a while, but I know there's a hell of a lot more people and a lot more building going on there. And I'm assuming that the roads are in the same shape that they were in before. And I can talk specifically to the town I live in now. There is a lot of stuff that needs to be done. And there are a lot of really talented people, unemployed, who could get out there and do the work. As a society, we've got to prioritize those things. So like you said, we missed the opportunity in 2008. In 2020 and 2021, we have the opportunity. We just have to have the gumption to go out and make
Yeah,
it
but
happen.
well, I mean, and I don't even know if it's gumption. I think the amount of the way I view it is what's working against that idea. Who wins when those ideas are not implemented? Well,
Well,
the
it goes.
people that are in power right now,
That's what I was
obviously.
gonna say. It goes back
You
to what I
know,
said earlier of the guys who have the whole jar of pennies and they don't want to share it. They want to keep everything they
no,
have
for sure.
in
Well,
their own group.
and you know, and that's what's so silly about oh well, we don't want a redistribution of wealth. Fuck, we've already had it. It's just been this way.
Right.
I mean,
Absolutely.
it's been all the money,
Up,
all the folks has been funneled
going up,
right up to the top.
right up to the
Um,
top.
and like times like now, times like 2008, if you've got money, that's time. This is investment time.
Hmm.
I mean, fuck, think about how much property you could scoop up when things go fucking south like this.
Absolutely.
Think about all the fucking empty ass retail space.
Hmm.
It ain't going to be filled again anytime soon. I mean, somebody's going to fucking buy that property. And
Look at the Lloyd Center. It's halfway empty from what I understand.
that I think that thing's been empty for a while now.
Since
Um,
2008.
wow. Yeah. That was about um I mean that thing's been, pretty isolated and empty. But like all the places, like all the office buildings, I mean,
Right.
fuck, we're both people that used to work
Yeah.
in office and now we don't.
Hmm. Right.
And so, you know, I don't know when those are going to be getting a big demand again. So if those places go up and they go empty and then somebody swoops in and buys all that property on the cheap,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Somebody
Yeah.
makes a big come up right there.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't give a shit. Land is land.
Right.
Property is property.
Right.
And granted, I mean, it may be getting repurposed or it may not have the same value or whatever. Fucking A, man. I mean, that's the one. There ain't no more of it.
You
So,
can't you can't build any more land. I mean, just because
yeah,
something's on it right now doesn't mean you can't tear it down.
I mean, in this town, they just put up houses and coffee shops, man. I mean,
Right. Well, I mean, like back there, people are building up. They're not building out. They're building up.
which they should,
You know.
I mean,
And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Like last time I was home, I drove down Williams Avenue, and I was like, "What the
yeah,
hell is
for
this?"
sure.
There
Right.
was like 5-story condos
Yeah.
all the way down, and like
Right.
I said, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. I look at it one way, right? I put my Portland hat on. I'm an old Portland boy.
Mm,
People live close to downtown. They're riding the bike. They're taking the bus. They're not using their cars. Fucking A. That's great, right? But at the same time, like, oh my God, like, can this area sustain what you're doing? So in one area, you're building up, you're building closer to town where people work, but you're overwhelming what the natural resources of the area come. Now, I'm not there and I haven't been there in a couple of years, but we got the same kind of thing going on here. And it's just like, I don't know what the end game is and when is enough. I don't know.
I mean, to me, I mean, it's almost like the idea that there's not enough food in the world. There's easily enough food in the world. There's not. The distribution is fucked up,
Right.
or it's corrupted. It's similar to this. I mean, there's if you subscribe to the idea that urban sprawl is bad and that less pavement is good, then you build up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure there's cons to that idea too, but well, I mean, the big con now would be fucking living in a big building with a bunch of other people.
Right.
Nobody wants to do that right now.
Right.
But assuming that this gets at all dealt with any amount of competency, which we haven't even touched on that. I mean, Jesus Christ.
No, I know. We've been going for about an hour. Haven't even brought it up yet.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
We got a tease for episode 2.
Nice.
You'll hear the real deal on the coronavirus.
Fuck.
I could go on for an hour.
Just us shaking our heads like.
I mean, I could go on for an hour or 2 or 3.
I mean,
or 6.
man. I mean, man. I'm gonna need a new glass of water. I tell you what, because I'm already fucking. No, man, I just don't know what. That's the thing. There's opportunity for a big change, and we've already shown that we can tolerate a pretty big fucking change. This one was a big fucking shitty change.
Sure was.
And we're all fucking, I mean, not that we're all skipping along, because we're not. There's a bunch of people fucking hurting. And I am, I wish it was like it used to be. But that's what I'm saying is that, I mean, we can take these big sweeping changes. I would just like to see them in a positive direction. Unfortunately, all we do is give money to folks that already have a lot of money. And then, it just feels like, it just feels like there's a bunch of fucking kids in the fucking candy store robbing this place fucking blind.
Right.
I mean, and they're a bunch of fucking they act like 2-bit fucking amateurs that it's so it's not even clever. It's not even disguised. It's fucking blatant as fuck. And it's like, it's like there's no consequence. Like, it doesn't even fucking matter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's,
It's so obvious that I don't understand how people with average intelligence don't see what's going on. I mean, it is so blatant.
I mean, I see
some of the things that are happening that I just don't understand it.
I see where the system is broken, where, in a way, because the Congress can only do so much, and then the fucking Senate isn't going to do anything because they're essentially complicit. So they're, everything dies there, and without any power there, the Congress has nothing. I mean, they got fucking zip all to do. They literally cannot do shit. And it is remarkable that it, I guess what's remarkable to me is that, these lawmakers that I assumed, silly me, were making laws, apparently weren't. I mean, they just been fucking, I think, and that is where the one thing I will say, both sides bullshit. I hate that fucking term. But honestly, I do hate, I hate how our system, I mean, what is it? The fucking Citizens United thing from 2010 where fucking cash equals fucking speech. Gee, that seems kind of like bribes, doesn't it? I mean,
right. Not kind of like bribes. Essentially, it is a bribe.
It kind of seems like bribes. I mean, we're saying bribes are cool. And like, once that happened, I mean, the whole fucking thing. And I even remember hearing Obama, like, I don't know when it was, but I remember like some speech he was giving. And that was back like when you didn't really pay attention to the president speaking all the time, because he didn't he was fucking talking all the time.
Right.
But he said something about like it was along the lines of like Patriot Act stuff. And he was talking about like the powers that he had, and he was like, you need to watch out about the next president, and the powers that the powers that the office has, and how they could be wielded, and
there's a whole nother show, the Patriot Act. That's an entire hour right there.
No, dude. I mean, but the consequences of that, and what blows me away is that people have done so willingly. I mean, it's all. I mean, fuck. You sign the NDA for your phone, or whatever the fucking thing is, the agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've all just learned to assume that they're listening to every fucking thing. There's whatever there is, the gigantic data center in whatever it is, Nevada.
Yeah. Well, and people make jokes of it now, right? At work, everybody's like, "Oh, your FBI agent's really happy because your camera's on all the time. So, on your laptop, you cover up the screen, right? Everybody back in the day, 6 months ago, you'd cover up your camera, although it's still recording. It can still hear, but it couldn't see you. And everybody just has just given that up freely, myself included, Like anything I'm saying right now, Siri's listening. We know that.
Oh, dude, I mean,
You know?
fucking, what? You buy a special device, the little Alexa device, specifically to do it more. I mean,
Right.
I mean, fucking A. So that's what's, because you talk about like 1984 and all this. I mean, that's what's so, I mean, man, if that fool would have seen this, and gone, fuck, all of his worst nightmares that
Oh,
he
true.
thought people would be like kicking and screaming. And people are like, nah, we do it freely. We got a cool phone.
Yeah.
And that's, and again, that's the pros and cons of like the internet and all of it. That, I mean, we have the, fucking sum of human knowledge in our pocket,
Mm-hmm.
and people post dick pics. I mean, that's,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? I mean, but at the same, that's not all it is, because fucking A, there are, democratic movements in countries that try to kill their whole fucking broadband, or whatever the fuck it is. Which, and that'll be an interesting thing with the whole Starlink. I don't know how familiar you are with that.
Oh, with the 60 satellites they just launched the other day or yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, there's hundreds of them that are going to be up there.
No,
Or there are- or there
they
already are.
launched. It was either yesterday or the day before. They launched 60 satellites.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the third time they've done that, though. I
Oh,
mean,
it is the third time.
I don't know how many times, but they've done it more than once. I mean, there's a shit ton of those satellites that are going to be up there.
Yeah.
And with the idea, sounds nice. Everybody gets Wi-Fi. I mean, that's straight up Nikola Tesla idea of
Mm-hmm. Sure is.
Wi-Fi for everybody. I mean, free energy for everybody. It's not quite that, but it's, I mean, that's,
Yeah. It's in the
I mean,
same. It's in the same family. It's in the same
yeah,
vein.
for sure. I mean, so that's pretty awesome stuff. But again, so now you're going to get everybody from everywhere making their contribution to whatever. And God damn it, though, if it isn't all just some big, computer, fucking, like I said, that big ass compound in the desert, just sucking up the entire world's algorithms of humanity. And
Absolutely.
God damn it, if it isn't all going to be fucking Skynet.
Well,
Fuck.
let me ask you this: you are about as off the grid of anybody I know.
Man, then you don't know anybody off the grid, because fucking A, man. I mean, I'm on the internet and I'm in the bird.
Well, you don't have a Facebook. You're not on Twitter. You don't have an Instagram. That's
Okay.
pretty much off the grid, right? There are some people that live out in the hole in the woods. I get
So I'm one step removed from the fool from the woods.
that. Have you ever gone on Google and asked Google how old it thinks you is? How old it thinks you are? Have you ever done that?
No,
Or have
I've
you?
not.
Or try it and ask Google what it knows about you. So if you Google how old do you think I am,
Like, just
it'll
Google like your name, or just
no. Just go
just
to your
because you're already logged in with your whatever. So
exactly. It'll tell you based on your history how old it thinks you are, and you can ask it questions, and it'll tell you. It'll tell you, I think you're 47. I think you're a black male. I think you make this amount of money. It will tell you all that stuff based on what you put into it. It is spooky.
how old do I look? Fuck me. Okay.
It is so spooky.
See, I don't know. I must not be getting it. Well, I just get like a bunch of like hits on searches for that, but
I'll find this. I'll find the specific search you have to put in, and I'll get it to you.
how old do you think I am? All right, let me try that one. Say I just get like other websites that are offering stuff and chicks and videos that, so
I'll find it and I'll send it to you.
maybe that's how off the grid I am.
Yeah.
They're gonna track me down now though, because I'm.
I know, right? They're like, "What are you doing?" Yeah.
Well, I honestly, I mean, I thought I was all off the grid, whatever the fuck you. But like you say, I mean, I wasn't a big fan, and I'm still not, of all of that. But I finally gave in to the, getting a smartphone,
Mm-hmm.
and I figured at that point,
Yeah.
that's it. Because I mean,
Yeah. Once you get a smart.
once I put my real name in that smartphone,
Yeah.
You know, which I'm like, okay, maybe I'll just put like, you know, Steve in the smartphone. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Which I think I did at one point. But then it was like all fucked up, like all the stuff that you want to do with your smartphone, which is actually kind of fucking handy, like buy
Right.
stuff really quick or whatever. That shit is handy. That
Right.
is neat. These things are awesome. I mean, like I said, it's a fucking supercomputer. I mean, in your pocket, it's cool. I understand why people like them. I like them too. But you know, just like
But like you said earlier, not everybody can handle that kind of power. Like you said, these kids who are 25, 26-year-olds right now, how are they posting stupid stuff online? Because they can't handle the power that they've been given.
But I mean, not even kids, man. Fucking old ass people like us and older, man. I mean, like
Yeah.
half the silly ass shit I watch on YouTube that are basically shows like this,
Mm-hmm.
and all they have is one extra person to look up funny ass clips and play them, you know, for the screen
Right.
for the
Yeah.
viewer to watch while we all crack
Yeah.
on it. I mean, dude, and like you say, a lot of it comes as the crazy shit that is on TikTok, dude. I'm almost convinced that it's like visiting Holding like back in the day.
Right. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like if I'd have had a camera like in the back room, you know, when we were like processing folks or whatever,
Yeah.
that's TikTok. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
it's
that's Instagram also. I mean, there's a dark
okay.
corner of everything.
Well, and that's it. I mean, fuck, dude. I remember like being in the basement at your house, like way back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
across from Stanich. Fucking
Mm-hmm.
Stanich, by the way. Goddamn.
Yeah. Good burger.
But you're like in the basement, like, and you're like, hey, check this out. And you're like, and you like message, you know, like a chat room or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, ooh, what was
Yeah.
that? And you're like, oh, look, it's like there's like other people in there. And they're all, and like people were just talking shit, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
like eat my ass, fuck you, whatever.
Right. Exactly.
That's what people did with the internet, you know, and that's pretty much what people are still doing with it.
Same thing.
Now with pictures, you know.
I know. I know. Could you imagine the stuff that we've done 20, 30 years ago, right? Stuff that we've seen. Think about all of the messed up situations we've been in if we had camera phones back then.
No, that's what I'm saying. You know, I mean, if we
you
had
know.
body cams for all that shit, fucking forget about it. No, and I think about all that crazy shit, and I think, fuck, I don't want my kids to do any of that kind of crazy shit. You know?
Well, the thing about it nowadays is if our kids get that old and they do that, we'll know about it before they get home because we'll see it online.
Nice.
You know, I mean,
Nice.
think about
they'll be live streaming their shenanigans.
Yeah, I mean, think about like going
That's
to
the thing,
Seaside
like,
and you know go think about the spring break in Seaside, all that crazy stuff, and like nobody knows about that except like 4 people because you know.
Dude,
You,
I mean,
you,
but like the kid that set the fucking forest on fire a couple of years ago here. I mean, dude, he filmed him. He fucking
Large Mountain, right? Wasn't that Large Mountain somewhere around there?
It was near there. Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
fucking Eagle Falls or whatever.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he filmed himself doing it. Like he put it on his fucking Instagram or whatever as like a 16-year-old.
Like how wild is that? You
And
know.
you're just like, but even at 16, wouldn't you have gone, man, this is a bad idea? I mean,
yeah.
You know, I mean, if you were going to do the stupid thing, bad idea enough, and but I mean, filming it and you don't even at 16, wouldn't you have like gone, okay, my official has my name on it. I'm gonna put here's us doing some shit, you know.
Right.
I swear to God, I know that there's videos on the top. I mean, people fucking doing the stupidest shit.
There is.
Like the most illegal shit.
Yeah.
And
well, like the guys that like filmed the robbery when they broke into the motorcycle store. I don't know if you saw this. They were like police cam, body cam, filming themselves going in and robbing this motorcycle store and taking these bikes out. And as they're loading the bike into the back of the truck, They got the license plate, and they're live streaming it. So people are like, ABC 1 2 3 4, call it in, and they get pulled over. I mean, it's just mind blowing. Like I said, people can't handle the responsibility of the technology that they have in their hands and their pockets.
So I here's if you say a guilty pleasure of the internet that you watch.
Mm-hmm.
I watch the street racing videos.
Yes, I've seen some of those.
The drifting and the whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Which apparently is like that. That was a big Ooga Booga story here on the news. The police won't come to the street racing event because they didn't have enough officers because they're too busy at the protests. So so now apparently like the whole city is just up for grabs because fucking stupid. And they were like they like shut down like St. John's Bridge or something, or Fremont Bridge, and we're fucking drag racing and burning out. And I mean, there are hundreds of people like just like
dude. St. John's Bridge would be a pretty epic spot to do that.
Oh, dude, but that's the thing, is that ain't the first time that's happened in fucking St. John's. I mean, all I ever heard about was like all the old time hot rodders back in the day would get told to go to the terminals. I even got told to go to the fucking terminals when a cop pulled me over on my motorcycle. He's like,
"Oh yeah,
you want to ride like that? You go to the terminals." I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah.
Sorry.
Marine Drive, that whole area down there.
Yeah, well,
Terminal 6.
Yeah, the Marine Drive, is spooky, but I mean, whatever. But yeah, the terminals, I mean, it that's been a hot rodding legend since the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
People have done that. So but the stuff I watch now where, and people, I'm sure this is something that's happened all throughout time. It's just now that there's video channels of it, and now that there's video channels of it, there might be more people doing it because
right, yeah,
they want to make the video of it. But man, I mean, again, the amount of the responsibility thing going on there. There's not a lot going on, not a lot of responsibility. Mostly just people being stupid and crashing. But again,
but that's what people want to see. If there's a
but they put it on their Facebook channel or whatever the shit. And you're like, dude, you just put yourself wiping out.
If you know that someone's going to wipe out, you're going to watch the video to the wipeout. You're going to watch it.
But I'm pretty sure that some of these people put that like on their own. Like,
yeah,
here's me fucking drifting, breaking every known motoring law there is.
Mm-hmm.
And like there was a guy like in the early days of the internet, he was in the UK called the Ghost Rider, and he would ride his motorcycle crazy as fast. And he would taunt the cops. I mean, he would like let them get close, and then he would haul ass away from them. He had his friends stationed around town, and then he would do like a circuit around town with the cops chasing him, and his friends would all be set up so they'd have
filming it.
Yeah, man. I mean, he was, again, it was the early days of the internet. I mean, but now there's, but he had like a dark helmet, like there was no license plate. He had like nothing, I mean, he tried to keep his shit anonymous. And he was like a thing for years before they caught up to him. Whereas like everything I'm seeing now, I mean, it's like,
oh, it's full face, it's license plate, it's everything. It's out there. Yeah.
They're out. I mean, they're betting,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When did you sell your motorcycle? How long ago was that?
Oh shit, that was 12 years.
Was that before the kids?
Yeah, definitely. That was kind of the. I got told that I could have another motorcycle when the kids are taller than me.
Okay.
So.
And by then you won't want another motorcycle.
Pretty much.
Unless it's an old school like Harley, like.
Nah, I'm straight. I've enjoyed cars now a lot more. Which is that was kind of the thing I was mentioning earlier. I mean, not since I've been working from home, and I don't have any kind of indication of ever going back or when I might go back. But I still have a car payment. You know what I'm saying? And like, I mean, the only miles I put on my car is like recreation ones, just like literally just to drive it around, just for no good reason. Other than like if I didn't like I'm now kind of an enthusiast of driving around because I've and so like
It's like your only escape.
well like yeah yes, but even before the Rona, it was like having a motorcycle again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's as fun as my motorcycle was, yet obviously not a motorcycle.
Right. I gotcha.
Um,
Dude, I remember you were so freaking happy riding that bike, that motorcycle. Every time you got on that thing, you had the biggest damn grin I'd ever seen. Like that thing made you happy, like back in the
nah,
day.
for sure. It was a lot. It was a ton of fun. Looking back or like looking forward, like I would like never let my kid be on one. I'm like, fuck no. But whatever. I was an adult at that point, so I could,
Right.
But no, I mean, they're fun as shit. But riding on the road is just, you know.
Well, people don't have any respect these days. I mean,
Yeah, they didn't then either. Fucking A, man. I mean, I almost
but just
got.
think you got, like we just said, there's an extra million people in Portland now.
That's all it
So,
is. There's just more
you know,
assholes,
it's
by
just,
per capita. Um, but no, I mean, that's why the car is so much fun now. That's why, and I didn't even realize it, man. I was driving a 1988 Toyota Camry station wagon. That's what I got after I sold my motorcycle.
mm-hmm.
So I went from a pretty hot bike, which
Mm-hmm.
you didn't like that, like my old bike that you remember from the record store. Like that was like a great learner bike.
Mm-hmm.
But my other bike was considerably
It
zippier,
was, yeah.
and I went from that to a 1988 Toyota Camry station wagon. So that kind of sucked all the fun out of driving right there.
Right.
Um, and yeah, I gave up on the idea of giving a shit about driving. It was just to get from over here to over there, and that was all.
Right.
But then sold that car, got a sensible Volkswagen station wagon, which I really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
But then that got smashed in a parking lot by some anonymous asshole. I'd like to say shout out to that asshole. And then when going for a replacement for that, I don't know why, I don't know how, YouTube videos, something, I don't know what,
Mm-hmm.
but I decided to buy a more sporty car, and it was still sensible. So, all-wheel drive station or all-wheel drive sedan. But it's just fun, it's zippy and it's fun and it's
Got a
a little,
little get up to it.
yeah, and it's just a sporty car. That's what it is, and I was blown away how quickly I was like, oh my God, I'm really into this.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I was into my motorcycle. And I did not realize how much I would miss that or how much I would be into it again.
Mm-hmm. But
And,
you still get that from your mountain bike, right?
well, I mean, that's like a whole different thing. I mean, that's just,
It's a different, it's like a different discipline, but at the same time, you kind of get that feeling of you're kind of controlling where you go in the grooves and this and that. And
no, I mean, yeah, no, for sure. I mean, there's just something to moving through space that I dig. I don't know. And that is kind of an interesting, question, because I've thought about that before. I mean, there's just something to, I don't know, that feeling of moving, like even skiing, like that feeling of gravity,
mm-hmm.
or that feeling of movement. Um, I don't know. I do enjoy it, and with the car, because the car I bought, I mean, it's a 2015 model, but it's a 6-speed manual, and there's no good reason for that. It, there's literally not. I mean, that is that is as practical as a motorcycle is
mm-hmm.
as a primary mode of transport in Portland. It's not practical at all, but that's not the point. It's fun, and it is, and you're either into that kind of thing or you're not. And I didn't think I would be, and I didn't realize I was still, and then I was like, oh, I think I'll buy that car because I don't know. I
Right.
did. And I mean, I didn't even test drive that car. I fucking bought that car unseen. The folks brought it to the dealership to have it checked.
Mm-hmm.
Dealership said it was okay, and I said sweet, and met him at the bank, did the paperwork, and then walked outside with my kid and said, let's see what kind of car I bought.
That kind of sounds like how I bought my house. We could talk about that later too.
Nice. But no, I do enjoy and it blows me away because like I said, I have no legitimate reason to have that car right now. None. I mean,
Other than you can afford it and you want it. And
yeah, but that's the kind of fucked up thing. Cause like if I wasn't into the hobby aspect of it, I'd have probably already sold that thing, man. I mean, fucking I've been home for 6 months now.
mm-hmm.
I would have sold it. I would have been like, why the fuck am I paying for this? I don't drive it at all. And now I feel like I almost have to go drive it to even
justify the
yeah,
car payment.
you know,
Yeah.
But
I mean, we got
I really like, you know,
we got 2 cars sitting in the driveway right now. Luckily, we don't have a car payment on either one of them, but I'm paying insurance on both cars, and I'm putting
it's brutal.
100 miles a week, maybe if that.
So if you're I guess if you're super glasses half full, you go, oh, I'm saving so much money on gas and stuff.
Yeah.
But I can't make that argument because I'm like, nah, I'm fucking throwing all this money at something I ain't using.
Right. I mean, like I said, I don't have a car payment, but I am paying insurance every month. Liberty Mutual's getting their money every single month.
And fucking we could do a whole thing about how much I hate insurance. The idea, just to begin with.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I get it. And so I mean, are you guys thinking about selling one of them?
Well,
just like
you never saw my Durango. I got a 2006 Durango,
okay.
And yesterday the transmission completely crapped out while I was driving. Just boom.
That's no good.
Yeah. So had to get towed. Had to take an Uber. It was a mess. So it's sitting in the driveway right now, and I'm gonna junk it. I'm just gonna sell it to somebody that buys junk cars, and we're gonna have one car.
And you want to buy my car?
We don't need. I figured out we don't need 2 cars. I haven't been to my office since March the 13th. That's the last time I worked in my office.
I mean,
other than that, I've been here, and my wife works 1 or 2 days a week. But we don't need 2 cars. We did then, we don't now. Like, I'm going to be, our office, our work just made the decision that we are going to be work from home until at least May of 2021. That's the earliest. Wow. That's the earliest we'll go back is May of 2021.
But they at least told you that, for God's sake.
Right. So they said we're going to be work from home through the end of the school year, because it looks like the kids are going to be home for the entire year, and they didn't want to put undue pressure on the parents. So they said work from home until the school year ends, which here is May. So I'm work from home at least until May. And it could be even longer.
It's nice to it's nice to even have, I mean, it's nice they told you that much. I've been in the more mushroom kind of line from my work.
Iffy kind of maybe kind of.
No, I mean I got sent home and at one point I said, hey, within 2 weeks of coming home, I said, hey, I'm coming back. And they said, no, keep working from home. And I have been ever since. Mm-hmm. And there's been no other word.
Is your whole office shut down, or are some people there and some people not?
No, they're all still there. I'm the only one home. I don't drive a forklift. I don't do any of that stuff. I don't care to. I don't want to. Mm-hmm. I'm supposed to be strictly, I've always supposed to have been sales, but then I've always done like a ton of like logistics stuff. I've done a ton of that. Just that was kind of like my other job too. And then only recently we got a secretary, but before that I was the secretary too. So I was like, answer the phones, man the front desk for all the firewood people, and whatever, and random truckers and the trucking that would come in to deal with their paperwork. I'd have to set up shipping, coordinate all that kind of stuff. So I was doing a lot more than just sales. But then we got a secretary, so then she was supposed to do a bit more of that, and I was supposed to do more and more sales. And then now that I'm here, obviously, pretty much just doing sales. So
Are your hours all messed up being on the West Coast dealing with East Coast people, or how does that work for you?
I mean, it's it's they are the first calls, in the morning for sure. Um, I start at 7, so get hold of anybody back east within the first hour or two of work, and you usually got a good chance of getting hold of them. Much after that, it's hit or miss more.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of opposite for us here. You know, working in the software industry, this pandemic has been a boondoggle for us. I mean, because what we do is we automate people's payments. So we kind of take over their accounts payable and we turn all of their payments from checks into direct deposit or credit card. And, we have suppliers and vendors who, like New York City, like the first couple of months of the pandemic, they could not physically get into their building to get their mail. So they had checks on checks on checks stacked up in a lockbox.
Wow.
But they worked on the 95th floor of the building and they couldn't get in the lobby, much less get up to the 95th floor to get their mail.
Wow.
So our company, what we do is we go in and we take over the accounts payable process and we turn all that into electronics. So people are like jumping in our window trying to buy our service so they can continue to get paid. So it's been great. It's been great for us. I mean, aside from, 180,000 people have died. Other than that, this has been
no, for sure.
It's been great, and I feel bad saying that, but I mean, as far as me working from home, like I could work from home with my team and do our stuff like forever. Like I'd never legitimately have to step back in my office ever again. Unless something fundamentally changes with the way in which we do business, I could work from home and, everybody on my team, I've like got 15 people that report into me. Every single one of my guys is going to make at least 10 to 15% more than they made last year because of the pandemic. So
just because business has picked up so much.
Just because business has picked up, and the people that would hang up on us before and be like, "No, I'm old school. Send me a check." Now they're like, "Shit, I can't get a check. I can't get into my building. The mail's not being delivered. The mail's late."
That's a whole nother thing, right?
That's a whole nother thing. So those people are like, "I have to get your service if I want to get paid." And I mean, we talked, like I said, the guy in New York City. He worked for a consulting company and he couldn't get in his building. And so he's got all this work that he's, going out consulting on that he was still kind of doing. And they were mailing him checks. And he's like, "Don't mail me a check." And I'm like, "Dude, I got a solution for you, man. Let me tell you about it. Here's what it is." And,
Yeah, no.
So,
and that's, but that's even like what they're talking about with, I mean, they've been talking about the automation of industry for a long time.
right.
I mean, it's been a thing for a long time, and it's only getting to be more and more of a thing, and it's getting exponentially so.
Right.
Like to the point, like whatever they talk about, like in 10 years, I mean, 40% of the workforce or something won't even be needed, or some fucking crazy thing.
My industry is 100% putting people out of work. I mean, it is what it is. We're automating stuff.
But I mean, but it's also creating new work, because I'm sure.
No, you're right. Yeah, let's create.
You hire new folks to, as you expand.
Our company is going to double in size. We're going to go from 2,500 to 5,000 people, but it's shifting. I mean, think about back in the day when we were coming up and some of the things that we were doing that are automated now, and it's created new work. But I don't know, man. It's one of those things where I look at my kids and I think, like, what are they going to do when they get my age or when they get out of school, and what's going to happen.
I'm gonna say, what's for dinner?
Dude, in my house, it's not only what's for dinner, and then an hour later, it's Dad, I'm hungry, and I'm like, you just we just cooked dinner, you just ate.
Can I tell you, like, we started taking my kiddo when he was 4 or 5 to sushi.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the big treat going out that I like anyway, whatever. And at first, like, all he would eat, he'd eat some rice. Like, yeah, fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then he kind of discovered like the miso and he liked that. I'm like, dude, we can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, he tried like, let me try. I mean, dude,
Hooked.
bam, bam, bam. I mean, he would kill like a whole tray.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then 5, 6-year-old just destroying it, And I'm like, oh my God, now, and then, and now, he's older and, second one eats like a truck too. And, they're, like I said, they're not even close to being teenagers yet.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to be frightening.
My 11-year-old discovered sushi not that long ago, and she loves it. She loves it.
Hey, let me ask. Sorry, totally different direction. Would you let your kid play football?
Well, if I had boys, I got girls.
I know, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's knock on wood or thank God.
Whole different set of issues. I'm just it just boom in my head.
Here's the deal.
Here's the thing. Boom.
No. If I had an 11-year-old boy instead of 11-year-old girl, and he wanted to play football, I would let him. I would.
Like the full contact, the whole enchilada.
I mean,
by the way, like they let like the 5-year-olds and shit with helmets on. I'm just saying.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I'm curious where you stand on that.
So, I mean, I've thought about this, and I've talked to my friends about this who have boys, and some of them have their kids play lacrosse, and some of them have their kids play soccer. I'd like to think, in my heart of hearts, that if he wanted to try it, I'd let him. Now, when I got to a certain point, depending on the, it's tough. Initially at 11, I would probably say try for a season, and then go from there.
You wouldn't let them like before like 11? Like, would you let them like when they were 5 or 6 or 7? Or
no, not that little. No way. That's. I mean, you're still developing all your soft.
What changes at 11?
I just think you're a little more in control of your body. Maybe even high school. I didn't start playing football until I got to high school. My parents were kind of like, no, you're too young to play football. Then when I got to high school, I started playing football.
Okay, so there was opportunity for you to play when you were even younger.
Right.
But your parents said no.
Yeah, my mom was like, no. My dad was like, no. I look back on it, and I don't think if I started playing football at a younger age, I would have got a scholarship. I mean, it was what it was. So it wasn't like football was an out for me. It was more of a fun thing to do, being part of a team.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man. That's tough, given all the science and all the stuff that's out there that says the risk is there. And I look back to my football career in high school. My football career in high school, this was before we met each other, but my football career in high school ended at Civic Stadium with me being taken off the field in an ambulance when I screwed my knee up, and I have problems with my knee to this day. I mean, literally, scooped me up off the field, put me in an ambulance,
Sure.
drove me down to the hospital. So, I mean,
I guess here's the thing, I mean, because you say like you're the whole time like you were playing, like were you ever like playing with the idea that it was more than just recreation?
at the time I was playing, no, it was just recreation for me.
Okay.
I knew I wasn't going to college to play football. I knew
Okay.
it wasn't it wasn't going to be a lifestyle. I knew
So
after high school it was over.
looking at that idea with it just being recreation, and you knew that then, even in high school, that it was just recreation. And looking back on it now, knowing the outcome of it, the injuries sustained, the times that you had, like, would you say that was worth it?
I'd say it's worth it for some of the lessons I learned, for some of the discipline that I learned from being part of a team, from being in a leadership role on my football team, because I was one of the captains. For that part of it, it was worth it. It kind of set me up later in life to kind of understand, like, to be part of this huge conglomerate and to be part of a leadership to do that. But as far as the toll that it took on my body and my knees, wasn't worth it. But the other part was. And where I struggle with that is, was there another outlet for me to get that? To go through the daily doubles where it's just you and your brothers. You guys are out there running and sweating and passing out and you're running that extra 5 yards because you're doing it for the guy next to you.
Do you
That
think
type
you
of
could have gotten the same satisfaction playing ping pong?
thing.
Because I mean, if I recall correctly, we played occasionally.
Probably more than occasionally.
For a moment, and
Yeah.
and that was some of the most athletic stuff I've ever done.
Yes. Yeah.
While being able to drink a beer.
Yeah, exactly. No, the athletic part, yeah. But I think the part that I got from high school football was, like I said, was that
And I think people drink playing football. By the way, I'm gonna just
they
throw
do.
that in
They
there.
absolutely do.
Come on.
But you were fighting for your brother. You didn't want to do it. You didn't want to take that extra hit. You didn't want to run that extra yard, but you were doing it for your brother. It was almost like the military, for some people is.
For sure. And I
That,
think that's kind of the argument that a lot of folks make of why it's a wee unsavory of that. It's excuse me, such a conditioner for, say, impressionable young men who then become, accustomed to regiment and uniform and
absolutely.
physicality
Absolutely.
and whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, that's why most people that join the military are ex-high school athletes. That's who they go after
and I
because
mean,
you're halfway there.
for sure. I- y- you know, here's the thing, just from the wee bit of involvement that I had, like with my kiddo playing soccer
Mm-hmm.
and being involved with that and coaching his team. And I went into it with a very distinct mindset of not being competitive. Like I kind of, I don't know. I guess maybe it's because I'm not good at being competitive. So I try to say I don't like competitiveness. That's usually is that what losers say? But at the same time, I don't know. I I think of it this way, like with like something I enjoy, like skiing. I enjoy skiing because I enjoy skiing. To me, to involve something like racing would suck the fun out of skiing. But yet for some people they're really into it, but then I don't know that we're enjoying the same things at that point. Yes, we're both enjoying skiing. But if you're big into racing,
It's more about the race than it is about the act of skiing. you could
So
be
I mean,
doing.
like if you race cars, if you race motorcycles, if you race skis, if you race fucking boats, it doesn't matter as long as you're racing. You know,
Mhm,
as long as
mhm,
you're competing.
mhm,
And I guess, like I said, maybe because that's what losers say, but I've always kind of tried to not be involved in that competitive side of things. And that's why I enjoy skiing or bike riding, because it's just something that I do. And and while I could be competitive with other skiers or bike riders I see around me, and maybe I am sometimes, I'm sure I know that I am. Ultimately it's just me doing my own thing, and I just rely on myself, and I can be competitive with my own self.
mhm.
Um
I think that's more goal setting and setting a milestone for yourself versus necessarily being competitive.
but there's competitive people that do those sports, bike riding and skiing. I mean, you know, the that's what I was saying, like well, like for example, like I take my kiddo bike riding, and this year I took him up to the trails that I go bike riding at, that are official mountain bike trails. I bought him a fancy bike. I mean, most people would go, "What the fuck?"
Mhm.
Um, you know, but then I go, "Oh," but then I hear about like what people invest for their kid to play soccer
Football,
or
football, yeah.
football or
The
whatever. You know,
traveling AAU basketball
dude,
team. Yeah,
tell me how much I don't want to fucking go travel around with my fucking kid for fucking every weekend for 19 fucking soccer games. Shoot
right,
me right here in the eyeball. I
right.
mean,
Yeah.
there's no way. And like doing the coaching stuff for his little teams, you know, like I mean, I'm talking like from when he was like 4 to 7 or 8 before the Rona hit. And I was just getting, because like my thing with soccer is that like I was gonna let him play. I was gonna let him play soccer up until they started letting headers be
Hmm.
involved. Because
Hmm.
when they're little kids right now, no headers. You know,
Right.
you're not allowed to
Hmm.
use your head. But like when they're like, I don't know what it is, it's like 11 or 12 or something like that. There's somewhere in that age where they say suddenly headers are okay. And
Hmm.
I already
That's
knew.
when you're going to check out.
Nope, no more for me.
Yeah.
And I'm very sensitive about that. I've had too many head injuries, and so I'm my kiddo's had too many head injuries already, just from when he was a little one running around, you know, falling
Hmm.
over, smacking his head. I think
Hmm.
that's too much. Um, and so I was like, yeah, that was where I was. I was like, okay, you can play up till then. And it's not like you can. It's not like head injuries are non-existent in things like bike riding and skiing. Certainly, they are there, but they're not intended. You know, you're if you smack your head bike riding, it's because something went wrong.
Right.
If you smack your head in football or soccer, that's
That's
because you're
doing the.
that's
That's a
because you're
normal
playing
course of
football
action.
and soccer.
Exactly.
You
That's
know,
a normal course of action.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. And so that's the difference I was making. And you should see this kiddo. I mean, I've got him so armored up for bike riding. You know, I mean, he's got the full gear.
Hmm.
Um, and and then he ate shit like immediately. And I was like, that's why I bought that helmet.
Right.
You know, because I
Yep.
mean, it's like the full, you know,
Yeah.
Monty, right? And the first thing he did was run into the bushes and then smack his head onto a log. And I was like, oh, but you know, but I see like these videos of like fucking 6-year-olds playing football, you
Yeah.
know,
That's
and
too
and,
young. That's too young.
and I mean soccer too. I mean, again, just because I was letting my kid, I mean, I was letting him play soccer. I was coaching his soccer team. You know, I mean, the biggest thing was no, don't slide tackle each other. They got into that for a minute, but how the fight that I had with my perspective of we're here to have a good time, we're here to learn about the game of soccer,
Hmm.
and we're here to run around and get some exercise
Hmm.
and some fresh air.
Hmm.
Um, and man, because I didn't talk to the parents
Right.
like ever. Like I had to learn how to do like fucking text messages and shit and like group text
Mm-hmm.
only because of fucking soccer. And
Right.
Jesus Christ, I mean, the parents would be blowing me up. I mean, I would ignore the shit out of them because I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And
Was it
how
the parents are trying to live through their kids?
well
Live out.
there's certainly that. I mean, there's certainly that fucking A. And yeah, there's definitely that. I mean, it's just because the thing is like it was the recreation league, and there's a specific distinction, and there's a whole competitive league of soccer for the kids to play in. And if you're really into it and you want to go pay extra money, you can go play competitive league
Right.
and go do that.
This was like rec league to
This
have a
was
good
rec league.
time. Yeah.
So, it's extra not that way. And that's
Mhm.
perfect for me because I was like, hey, I'm your guy.
Mhm.
I will coach these kids. I will yell at them. And dude, I mean, in a way I loved it. It was like my weekly or bi-weekly therapy session.
It was like catharsis, right? You could just
Yeah,
get it out.
I just yell.
Right.
I would just yell at kids for an hour. And I would never even talk to their parents. I wasn't interested in anything they had to say. I don't care. But I mean, I would have like parents like during games, like talk shit,
Really?
from the other team. You know what
Uh-huh.
I'm saying?
Right.
Because at that level, there's no referee. It's just me and the other coach who
Oh,
kind of
gotcha.
judge, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and it's just incredible. I mean, goddamn, man, these are kids playing soccer. Fucking relax, son. And
And the
by the way,
parents are going nuts.
by the way, your team is killing my team 8-0. So fucking chill. I'm trying to keep my kids from fucking wanting to jump off a cliff.
Right.
Um, and you just got like this little chirping, oh, you got an extra man on the field. I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
Did you not see the meeting that me and the other coach had a moment ago to do just that? But now you're making,
Right.
but the whole idea was we're not supposed to make a big deal out of it. You're just supposed to be,
And now you kind of put it all out there.
hey, I mean, yeah, you're, anyway. So I don't know. I enjoyed it. I enjoy yelling at the kids. It was amazing because, like, seriously, and if this is wrong, strike me down. But like Tuesday was practice night, right?
Mm-hmm.
I get home from work, relax for a moment, have a nice drink, and then go yell at kids for an hour. It was great. It
Yeah.
was great. Run some more, go run some more. I would try not to curse. It was great, and I kind of miss it. I mean, I do. But like I was seriously like, maybe we'll skip soccer this next season anyway, because I was like, maybe we'll go about mountain biking. It'll be sweet. And then the
Mm-hmm.
fucking Rona hit, and I'm like, well, there's no way you're playing soccer.
Right.
And then it all got canceled anyway. So
Yeah.
yeah.
My oldest is a swimmer.
Nice.
And it has competitive nature to it.
For sure. Olympics if you want to.
She's not overly competitive, but there are a couple kids that she likes to beat.
Everybody
But her
likes to beat
thing,
somebody, huh?
yeah, but her thing is more she's trying to beat her time. Like she
Okay. Yeah.
loves to she always comes and asks me, Dad, what was my time? And I'm like, it was 35:11. And she
Nice.
was like, what was it last time? I was like, it was 35:17. She's like, yes.
Nice.
So she doesn't care. Like if she gets a ribbon, we've got 8, 9, 10 ribbons up there, whatever. Nothing big. It's not like she's the fastest. But for her, it's all about like perfecting the strokes and like beating her time. She wants to beat her time every time.
Yep.
And I think it's different because my 7-year-old is more catty than anyone I've ever met in my entire life. And she's not competitive. She's one of those that's like, I'm going to figure out the smart ass thing I can say to you that's going to make you like wonder like who the hell I am. That's my 7-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Just like she came in earlier, she's like, if you were at the kitchen table, you'd have the perfect lighting.
Nice.
okay, you
Boom.
know,
Telling you.
that's her in a nutshell. So having daughters is like, I don't know what I'd do with the boy. Like, I don't know. You know, I look back and I think about when I was coming up, but like having daughters has really made me change my mindset because I know at some point they're going to go off to school and they're going to deal with a whole lot of stuff that I never had to deal with that I was on the other side of, you
For
know.
sure, for sure.
And back in the day when we were coming up and we were in our 20s, when we were talking to girls, I never once thought this is somebody's daughter. Never, that thought never crossed my mind.
Not probably like it does now, for sure. No.
You know, and then having daughters,
Yeah.
my expectation is that someone is going to think, hey, this old man over here, that's his daughter, you know. And it's just different, man. It's just, you know, just a lot of different things to think about.
You know, I can only assume nobody will ever be good enough, so that you just get that right out of the way.
And I try to raise them that they will never have to depend on a man or anybody. That pops is going to do it, and what I can't do, I'm going to have them be able to do themselves. That's the way I want to send them off into the world.
No,
You know,
for sure.
there are not only girls but boys. There's a lot of emotionally broken kids out there right now, and that's a
Well, I
whole
mean,
nother
with all,
whole nother show we can talk about too. Is about how people are bringing up kids.
well, fuck you. I mean, you could do like
You know.
you could do an entire show just dedicated to fucking, you know, what it's like for these kids to have to deal with the fucking Rona. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I got one kid that is old enough to have known life before the Rona, so he knows what he's missing.
Mm-hmm.
He knows it. He's been to Disney. You know what I'm saying? He's seen some of the world in soccer and fucking school and all. My other one's not even 4 yet, just about to be, and so he doesn't know any of that.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know what he's missing. He doesn't know that there's
Right.
something wrong, really.
Right.
Other than, you know, it's just, you know, this is just normal now. And that's such a weird dynamic, you know.
That is a weird dynamic.
And I do. I mean, obviously, I mean, you know, for the kids, you know, for my older one, I feel the worst for, because I mean, my younger one, he doesn't know what he's missing, and so I don't feel as bad for him. But my older one, you know, he knows what he's missing, and because I am that asshole parent that won't let him go outside and play with all of his friends. When they're all having a big fucking, I'm like, did nobody else get the fucking message about the fucking pandemic? No, apparently
That's
not.
me too. I mean, I'm right there with you. I'm like, get your ass in the house.
Yeah, you know?
That's me. Yeah.
And we talked about like, oh well, you know, if I wear a mask outside, can I play with my friend? And I'm just like, I mean, you know, I mean, right now, no, you know, it hasn't worked out yet, you know, because I can't get my head around it, you know, and I feel like I haven't done it right somehow because I don't know what the fuck to do.
Right.
You know, and that's the problem with all this, is that there has been such an overwhelming lack of leadership in what I mean, that this even happened in the first place was amazing and something I didn't think would ever happen. And the response or lack thereof, I mean, at times to seemingly like intentionally make it worse. Like, honestly, like if you were writing a stupid book, you would
Well, if
think,
this was a movie, this is exactly what the movie would do.
but
It
you
would
would go,
do everything
but you
wrong.
would go, that's so stupid. You go, fuck, I saw this coming. I mean, come on, be more.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? If this was a fucking movie, you go, no fucking way.
Right.
You wouldn't believe the stupid shit. You go, no, that's too stupid to fucking happen. I'm changing the channel. I swear to,
and that's the world we're living in right now.
If 5 fucking years ago you fucking showed this as a movie, it would be a spoof movie with fucking James Franco.
Right.
I mean, now Dancing with Kim Jong-un sounds about fucking par for fucking today. I mean, it just, it's it's staggering. I don't know, like I say, I mean, and that was the one thing, like when we started off of like Kel said to me, this is like one of the first times maybe that you've ever felt, any kind of disenfranchisement at all.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas other folks have for a long time. I'm like, well, then how the fuck do you I mean, how can people, it made me appreciate or amazed, just be stunned and staggered how people could be patriotic that have had it considerably worse than I have for a fuck ton longer. How folks could join the military how blows my mind. It outright blows my mind. I mean, her old man is retired from the Air Force. And I'm like, I mean, her brother's in the Navy. And I'm just like, and I'm sitting here like ready to burn my flags and shit.
Right. And you're like, how can you do this given what you've been through?
Yeah, it blows me away. It's literally something I never even possibly considered. Not in the capacity like I am now, anyway.
I mean, dude, it's one of those things where it's so hard to put into words. And we go back so far. So you've known me since I was a kid, pretty much, right? You've known me since I was 19, 20 years old, I think. Maybe 20, 21. And it's one of those things that when I was coming up, you just knew that there were certain things, and I hate to say it like this, you just knew there were certain things you couldn't do. Coming from the part of town I came from. You just knew there were certain things you couldn't do, and you dealt with it. And it wasn't a big deal because you knew it wasn't an option, right? You knew that door, you could never open that door. Other people could go in and out of that door, but you could never go in that door. So it didn't bother you that you didn't know what was behind it because you knew you weren't allowed or you never had the opportunity to go through that door. Now,
right. All my doors have been allegedly open for any, and that's the one thing that I think a lot of folks, like myself, will go, okay, I'm supposed to be hearing this, all my doors have always been open, but yet why can I not get ahead? And it's like, that's just your own fucking dumbass. You know what I mean?
Right.
Every opportunity, I mean, and that's what folks, that's what's so frustrating. And when you see like these boat armadas of these people that are, I'm so fucking angry. Because
it's like, what are you angry about? Like, what are you angry about?
You're in
like,
a fucking boat,
right.
What do you got to bitch about? And again, and that's the thing. These are the folks that have had every opportunity thrown their way, and they're still pissed. And I've had plenty of opportunity as well, and I'm not as angry as those guys. And I'm like, what the fuck's your problem? I mean, they've got as much opportunity or more than I've had. And I'm not near as angry as those guys are. Not like that. I'm angry about some other shit, like how they're fucking behaving, I guess. That's
right. Yeah.
Like, you're making us look fucking bad. I mean,
yeah. And then here's the other thing, the perspective. So grew up in North Portland, right? Went to private high school, went to Catholic high school. That opened some doors to me back then that I never thought would be open. I got exposed to some stuff that I never, if I had went to Jeff, like all my friends did, would have never seen some of the stuff I saw. Would have never been exposed to some of the people I was exposed to. At Central, it was me and Terry and like 4 other black dudes. That was it. Out of like 700 kids, that was it.
Right.
So I went from North Portland, all my friends went to Whitaker and Belmont, to going to Central, where all my friends were all of a sudden white overnight. I went from 8th grade graduation to first day of high school, and I went from all black friends to all white friends. And if I hung out in Beaverton, or I hung out in Hillsboro, or I hung out in Tualatin.
Right.
Because that's where all the kids lived, or Lake Oswego. Because their parents wouldn't let them come to my house.
Right.
Right? So that's where I hung out and I saw stuff, and I was just formalizing all this stuff as a 15, 16, 17-year-old kid.
Right.
I saw stuff that I never knew really existed other than TV,
Hmm.
right? Some of the houses my friends lived in, some of the cars their parents drove, some of the stuff they had access to. I'm like, I never missed it because I knew that I was never going to get it. Does that make sense?
Nah,
It,
well,
it,
what makes sense to me, just when I was that age, and from my perspective, when I saw that stuff, it wasn't that like, oh, I never thought, that was a door that I could open. It was so close, but yet so far away
mm-hmm,
that I was like, I was envious.
mm-hmm,
I was like,
mm-hmm,
man, I was like, all my friends got cars like in high school, right?
right,
I got rides from all my friends.
mm-hmm,
You know what I'm saying? Um,
mm-hmm,
and like you said, like when you would go to like parties or hang out or whatever, and I would see how other folks lived, and I'd be, because like my family was like just able to keep their suburban house.
mm-hmm,
But, like we couldn't do like vacations. We didn't go.
right,
We didn't have like the boat or the extra car or the motorbikes or the like
mm-hmm, yeah,
whatever all the don't get me wrong, we lived great, but like I always it was always, no, we don't have enough for that this month, no,
mm-hmm,
we can't do that, or no, you got to get Janet Lee Happy House, you're not getting fucking name brand soda,
right,
you're not
yeah,
getting, soda at all. Yeah, I mean, it's not like it was such a weird, because I was surrounded by it,
mm-hmm,
like every place I saw, everybody I knew. Yet I knew that I wasn't going to have. I knew there was no way. I wasn't getting a
mm-hmm,
car. I wasn't.
mm-hmm,
We weren't going on trips. It wasn't fucking happening. And like I said, I mean, it was always like it grinded on me some, and I think it. And now even when I feel like I have a semblance of that suburban life that I saw when I was a kid, going, man, that's the that's the minimum of like, you made it,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
the decent cars, you kind of maybe go someplace, you kind of have some things, nothing crazy, but you're doing okay, you
right,
and I feel so guilty about that at times, and it's almost like the only redeeming quality of it all is that like my partially brown kids can get an experience that maybe other partially brown kids don't get. And I'm like,
mm-hmm,
that's kind of lame. But then I even see it. Cause like, let me tell you something, skiing and mountain biking, a lot of folks look like me.
right, yeah,
And there's a pretty high entry point,
mm-hmm, yeah,
I mean, fucking
yeah,
think about. I mean, it's not I mean, fucking, it's not subsidized at school like football is.
right, exactly,
Tell me about it.
yeah.
I mean, that's one
Skiing,
thing that always.
you're
But that's one thing that drives me nuts. I mean, we're not willing to give anything to anybody in the hood
mm-hmm,
except some football pads.
right,
Here you
yeah,
go. You can have some
mm-hmm,
pads. You can go play some football. We'll hook you
right,
up with that. No sweat. But you know, any other opportunity, any other decency in your neighborhood? Nah.
nah,
You don't need that, but we
yeah,
got you on the football end of things. You
exactly.
know,
We'll get you some cleats.
there, and that's something that has been, that encouragement of people's fucked up opinion to be expressed now. That encouragement of all the guys that I went to school with, that because I look like them, they assume I thought like them.
Mm-hmm,
You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they're a lot freer with their words than maybe they should have been.
Right.
Or they didn't give a fuck. They
Yeah.
didn't care what I thought.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But that, and that was the thing, because but it was always a thing that, it was when it was in safe company to talk like that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's being encouraged.
Right.
You don't have to be in safe company.
No, that's what I'm saying.
You just
Remember what I said
let her
earlier?
rip.
That all this stuff was right under the surface.
Oh
It
yeah.
was right
For
under
sure
the
it was.
surface.
Fucking A, it was.
And
That's what I'm saying. Like all these assholes, because that's what sucks. They're ruining it for guys like me, because I mean, I as the term goes, fit the description.
mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, as a radical, uh, middle-aged white man,
Mm-hmm.
and I should be on a fucking watch list.
Right.
My face ought to be, because it looks like every other face it ought to be, pudgy,
Mm-hmm.
pale, and super entitled. And it's just driving me nuts, because again, like you say, it was always under the surface. And I mean, these were the guys, like I said, I fucking went to school with these assholes.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that fucking A. I mean, not everybody I went to school with, not everybody, but a lot of them, plenty of them. And again, and it was because I look like one of the gang. Surely I must think like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
like you said, a little more freer with the words and ideas and thoughts, thinking that you were going to concur.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean, I don't know if it was like a trial. You know what I mean? Like, hey, see if he's one of us. I don't know if it was really that explicit. I just think that that's what guys grew up with, and that's what they were and that's just, you know what I mean? And there was no reason to hold back when I was around. Unfortunately. But it made me realize a long time ago, I maybe don't have a lot in common with a lot of these folks. And that's why I I mean, I don't feel like I'm missing out when I don't go to reunions and I'm not on the face pages and all that. I don't feel like I'm missing those folks or what they've got to contribute to what I think. I
right.
mean,
Or what they represent.
yeah, I mean, maybe they've all changed. That's possible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I haven't talked to any of them, so I don't know.
Right.
But I just know that mentality was always out here. It's always been out here. It's always been under the surface, but now it's been encouraged. And, I don't know. Like I said, the idea that Antifa, I mean, do the people that are against that even know what that stands for? Because I don't think they do.
I don't think they do either.
I think they just hear that word and they know that it's bad, and that's all they know. It's just bad.
Well, like you said before, it's that Fox opinion channel where they demonize something on one side or the other and don't give a lot of information about it, and then you just get programmed that when you hear certain words, you're supposed to think it's bad and not look into what's going on.
But and how lazy are motherfuckers that they can't even. I mean, again, it's not like you have to go down to the library. You literally, on the same device that you're watching your Fox News show, on literally the same device, you click and go, what the fuck does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you go, oh, let me look up what Antifa means. And you go, oh, anti-fascist. That means that you're against fascism. Why is so? If I'm anti-Antifa, so then am I pro-fat? Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I know that's a lot of stuff to try to link together there, but Jesus Christ, what do you even fucking what? It just blows me away what people are. I mean, you're not even coming up with a better name,
Right.
Well, it's like, I don't know. I mean, but
I think
that's what they're playing to. Is they're playing to the stupidest assholes out there that,
like you said, the
look that shit up.
The lowest common denominator, and I think it's anything that that class of people thinks is going to hurt their Lord and Savior Donald Trump, they're going to fight against. Anybody that's going to have the courage
Well,
to speak up,
I think like earlier, like
you
like
know,
the whole idea of how do you rouse rabble?
uh-huh.
You know, like we talked about, you go, you know, like they did in the 30s and like they did again in 2016. You know, you go, we've all got problems. We're all mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore. And oh, by the way, it's that guy's fault over there. And all you got to do is fill in the blank. Who is that guy?
Mm-hmm.
Jewish folks, black folks, Antifa folks, whoever the fuck it is.
Whoever it is.
And we'll all gang up together because now we're all united against
Mm-hmm.
those guys over there.
Right.
And if we just get rid of those guys over there, all of our problems will be solved and everything will be better. And the nice thing is, as long as you have a bad guy to point at, you don't have to ever make it better.
Mm-hmm.
You just go, the bad guy's the reason why it's not better. And as
Mm-hmm.
long as he's around,
Mm-hmm.
it's never going to get better. So we don't have to make it better. We don't even got to fucking try. We just got to say there's a bad guy over there.
You just gotta say there's a bad guy.
And he's making it terrible. And until he's gone, and he's never going to be gone, because
There's
gosh,
always going to be
you
a
know
bad
what it
guy.
reminds me of? You know what it reminds me of? A lot like, you know, good old 9/11 and all that, and the idea that we're going to war on terrorism, and how stupid the idea was to me that we're going to war on an idea, because
Mm-hmm.
what country is terrorism? What flag? What nation do they belong to?
There is no nation. There is no flag.
You're fighting an idea, which that's genius, because you'll never defeat an idea. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're in the business of war, and war is good business, then
You're always going to have an enemy.
you always have an enemy. You always have an unending war where you say, again, things are always going to suck. And why are they sucking, by the way? Because we're just destroying everything over here. We're just raping and pillaging everything that this country's ever stood for. We're just cashing in, and we're not even trying to hide it. And oh, by the way, the reason everything sucks is we just say the boogie word,
Terrorism.
or Antifa.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's Antifa. It used to be terrorist. You're an evildoer. You're a terrorist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now it's you're an Antifa.
Mm-hmm.
I want to slap the fucking mouth of people. It's just such a stupid thing to say. But again, you're fighting an idea. You're not fighting any. You're fighting an idea. So anybody can be that idea. It's no different than the fucking Red Scare in communism.
Yeah.
Ooh, you're a communist. You might be a fucking communist. Everybody was fucking terrified of being labeled as a fucking communist. You know, now suddenly you're going to be an Antifa if you're not on board. And I don't know, man. It just
I mean, the playbook has been set out for a long time. You find a boogeyman, you go after the boogeyman. The boogeyman is nebulous, so that way you could never catch the boogeyman. So you always have a boogeyman to go after.
for sure.
Rinse and repeat.
And if people,
at the end of the day, didn't we fight a war over this, like a world war over this?
I mean,
You know?
that's what all the fun memes are about, is that Antifas used to be guys jumping off a boat in Normandy. That used to be what Antifa meant, but now suddenly it's, you know, anybody that doesn't like fucking cops. And
Right.
you know, I don't know. I'm super duper tired of all these fucking jackasses that look like me, armed to the teeth, walking around like it's just fucking cool as beans to walk around armed to the teeth because you can.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a shift of gears, because fuck it, why not? Just because you're entitled to ride your bike in the street, maybe you fucking shouldn't. Just like you're entitled legally to strap a fucking rifle to your fucking back and walk down the street.
But should you?
But should you? Maybe.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And not to throw asshole bike riders in the street under the bus, because I don't want to hurt anybody. But it's, you know, two groups of entitled white folks, though.
Mm-hmm.
People that ride their bike in the street and gun assholes, and
Yeah.
two groups of folks that would never ever think that they're associated with each other, right? Those two groups of people would be like, fuck you, I have nothing to do with each other, fuck hell no. And you're like, no, you know what? You've actually got a lot the same.
You have a lot more in common than you think
let's
about.
see, let's check the boxes. Entitled white fellow being an asshole. Yeah. There's a group for us.
Right. Yeah. You hit on another golden nugget, just like the Argentina thing. We're gonna have to start writing these down.
Oregon's the Argentina of what, like Jim Crow era?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, Jim Crow era.
Or not even that. Before that, really. We were the original Argentina.
Right, the original Argentina.
Right, because that was before World War II. Fuck, that was, I mean, back after
the Argentina of the Civil War. The Argentina
there
of
you go, the Civil War Argentina.
Yep.
Argentina of the Civil War. Yeah, fucking. Well, we got that part hammered out.
Argentina of the Civil War.
I do like that though, because goddamn,
I do.
It's fucking
spot on.
It's fucking true.
On.
It's fucking
so
true, isn't it? God damn it.
It's so spot on. It's so spot on.
That's fucking beautiful. You know, like in, you know, like I don't know how many podcasts you watch, but like they always title like the episode. Not always, but a lot of times they'll title.
No, they do.
Episode.
This one could be Oregon is the Argentina of the Civil War. Yes.
So good.
That's deep. That is deep. So, hey, you said something earlier that I wanted you to go back to. So when you take the little one skiing, how's he received? Or mountain biking?
No, for sure. Well, skiing, everybody's bundled up, so nobody notices.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, everybody's wearing fucking, you know, whatever they're wearing. Mountain biking, you know, is definitely, well, and it's one of those things too. It's just funny because, like, you know, I still haven't gotten used to the look.
I was going to ask you about that also.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, because again, this is not something I'm used to because I walk around with impunity everywhere. But now that I have my little one, and even before when I just, you know, with my wife, I mean, you know, that would spurn the look sometimes. Just me and my lady walking around. You know, the kiddos though, that more often gets the look.
That amplifies it, yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And it makes me punchy. You know, like because I just stare right at people like because I know.
Here's the thing though. Here's the thing. You don't get it from people that look like her. You get it from people that look like you, I bet.
No.
Really? It's the other way there.
Dude. It is a slice of the rainbow. It is everybody.
Really?
Man, I mean, I tell you, I mean, man, my mother-in-law, come on, man. She will talk some shit about the wrong kind of fucking, man, you get her talking about fucking Chinese people? Come on, man.
Really?
Yeah. All humans have room for improvement.
Yes, this is true. No, 100%.
And
100%.
And folks that look like me do not have a lock on the market. We just have a lion's share of it.
You know, I don't know if it's something about that age, but my dad, when he came back from World War II, when he would tell me stories about World War II, anybody that was from Asia, he called him a Chinaman. And I'd be like, Dad.
Oh, forget about it. I mean,
you remember my dad. You remember my dad. I was trying to like,
but that's the thing. Your old man and my old man were like the same age, or really close. Really close.
I'm like, Dad, he's not a Chinaman. He's from the Philippines. His name is Raymond. He's not a Chinaman.
No, he's Oriental.
Yeah, or Oriental, you know. But
we're not supposed to say that. That's a rug or a food type.
Yeah,
that's not a people. Although,
and it wasn't. He was saying it was demeaning. It was,
but it probably wasn't really. I mean, it's not flattering in the first place because
it wasn't flattering.
You're not acknowledging where that person's really from. You're just saying, fuck it, you're from all of those places, and I don't give a shit about really where you're from.
Right.
Is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I mean, like if I said, I mean, it's no different. you're Mexican. No, I'm from the Dominican. I don't fucking care. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you're right. No, I think that's a perfect. I think you
um,
nailed it there. Yes.
but like as far as like when I go, like bike riding with the kiddo, um, yeah, I mean it, and it's something like here's the thing, like I don't know when to even bring shit like this up because I want to like keep his innocence. You know what I'm saying? I just do. I mean, I want him to fucking be an innocent kid. I don't want him to think about the terrible shit of the fucking world. Um, I don't. I don't want him to worry about what everybody else is thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And if
Yeah.
that's me keeping him naive because it is, and that's wrong, I guess I accept that. I don't. And at some point, I know I'll have to. I got to figure that out. Or I mean, we've talked about certain aspects of, I haven't really even, I mean, like I said, like I've really tried, because I've tried to really drive this whole thing of, not really addressing folks based on, whether they're black, white, Asian, Mexican, whatever, just that's a person. But even to that aspect, I mean, do you go, oh, that's a boy, that's a girl? Because I know that's a whole nother,
Yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms
not
right
supposed
now.
to really fucking maybe talk about that or not. So, like I said, man, I mean, I've just, I have let him keep his innocence to my own benefit because I don't want to talk about things that I don't know how to talk about, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And when we go bike riding and he just shreds and he does, and it's fucking awesome because like I see other kids, they're similar age, and he fucking destroys them. I mean, and it's awesome. And I'm like, and like we like for example, like he enjoys watching skateboarding, even though he knows I'm never gonna let him go skateboarding. But there's a kid named Nigel Houston who is a like super champion skateboarder, and he looks like Theo. They look similar, and so I like to give him examples like that to see, so that not every super athlete that he sees. I like that they certain folks in certain sports seem to be like all you ever see. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I agree.
And I want him to see other examples. Like for example, like my little kiddo is named after Lewis Hamilton, the race car driver in F1, who is a beautiful example of
He's a
somebody
badass.
super
He is
badass,
a badass.
but somebody that he was absolutely on the outside looking in of that sport. That sport is nothing but rich kids, and rich kids that get their dads to drive them to the fucking race car fucking track. I mean, dude, talk about more than skiing and mountain biking. That's pretty exclusive shit. So I mean, like
Yes,
I don't know if you ever heard of any of Lewis Hamilton's story of like what it took for his old man to get him racing. It's incredible. I mean, his old man was like working like 3 jobs, and talk about like being where you are a standout.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you do not look the same like anybody else.
Exactly.
And then laying it down upon everybody.
Right.
I mean, he fucking dominates.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he doesn't just beat, he fucking dominates.
Mm-hmm.
And
He's
it's
a
beautiful.
badass.
It's beautiful. And it's like this Nigel Houston kid. I mean, again, he's a skateboarder. You don't see a lot of non-pasty fucking skateboarders. You know what I'm saying? And so it's fun seeing like on X Games or whatever. And they've done a decent job like on like BMX, skateboarding, a lot of these different sports where historically all you would see is like bros like Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But now that they actually have opened it up to, oh my gosh, other folks that aren't white, these kids destroy Tony Hawk.
Mm-hmm.
These kids stomp on what Tony Hawk could do. I mean, it's fucking beautiful. And it's like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, these kids are not just like, oh, all that there is basketball or football, and that's all I get to go play.
They've got
I want to
opportunity
see,
to do all kinds of stuff.
because, I mean, that's what's so frustrating. Like when I hear like, oh, this person's a world champion fucking golfer.
How many people in the world get a chance to play golf?
Right. Yeah.
I'm just saying. How many fucking
Yeah.
how many people in the world get a chance to go skiing?
Right.
You're a world champion of the people that have the opportunity to even try.
So here's the deal.
You know what I mean?
Going back to what I told you about going to Central, the first time I ever went to ski was with some of my high school buddies.
Mm-hmm.
First time I ever played golf. First time I ever played golf was at the Lake Oswego Country Club,
Nice.
which I didn't even know existed, right?
Yeah.
And I wasn't super sheltered. My old man didn't play golf. My old man never played golf. My old man was a fisherman.
Right, for sure.
Any lake or stream in the world, he had been to it. So we went all over. So, of course, I knew what skiing was. We had been to Mount Hood. I had been to rhododendron and rode the tubes and all that stuff, right? As a kid, you do that stuff. But I had never been skiing until then. I had never, any of the kind of the things that have a high barrier to entry.
Yeah.
It was my friends at Central that I did it, because coming up, skiing, you skied your whole life. Skiing is not cheap.
No.
It wasn't a priority.
I didn't start skiing until you did, man. I had the same. I had the same experience. I saw my friends going. I never went skiing until like fucking I was in high school.
Yeah. It wasn't like my parents didn't want me to do that stuff, but to send me to a country club to play golf for a day was like $100.
Oh, there's no way. No,
and it was just like, that was not in the budget.
No.
At all.
No.
Well,
dude, I couldn't even go. I mean, thankfully I sucked at sports. So my parents didn't have to make the tough call of saying that we couldn't afford me to play in sports.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I was just terrible at them. So, it took that out of the equation. But like say, going and doing something like skiing or going on a ski trip or whatever. Yeah, that was just, it just wasn't in the fucking cards. I mean, having those opportunities to even go do that kind of stuff. And that's why, I mean, it felt crazy buying my kid a crazy expensive bike. But at the same time, I was so excited to, because, I mean, regardless of what he looks like, I just know, like when I was a kid, I didn't have that opportunity. There was no way that I had that kind of an opportunity of having, that kind of equipment to go do that kind of a sport that takes that kind of a commitment from the parents to go get you to go do. Not happening in a million years when I was growing up. Not happening in a million fucking years. And so, I mean, part of that, I guess, was like I was taking a little bit of satisfaction of like I felt like I had made it. Hey, I can afford that suburban lifestyle of my kid doing an elite type sport like that, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, or
it's just a sport with a high barrier of entry.
Yeah. I mean, it just is, I mean, hoops, what? You need a ball and you need some shoes and a hoop outside,
That's it.
Football, you need more, but it's all subsidized by the schools. If you want to play, if you want to play football or baseball in school, you get to go play. And yeah, I mean, I suppose like you have to chip in a bit, but if you're good, they figure that out. Like say, that's how I knew I sucked at football, was that I got booted off for grades.
Yeah,
that's how you can tell. Your grades are your grades are pretty low, so we don't think you can be on the football team. I'm like, I know that guy's grades are worse than mine. He's good at football, so I get it. But no, it's I don't know. It's neat to be able to go do stuff like that, and it's still, I mean, it was a bit of, it wasn't really even a bit of a stretch. I mean, it was doable, and I mean, it's fun. I love him. I just think of like, being an 8-year-old kid having a bike like that. First of all, they didn't even exist back then when we were kids.
Right.
They didn't even exist. I mean, the bikes that they make, like telling you, this thing is insane. And if any kid was 8 years old and had access to a bike like that, they would rip. I don't give a shit who they are. I honestly believe that any kid, give them a little bit of time, you give them that kind of equipment, and they will go shred, and they will go have a good time, and they will fucking love it. I mean, it's fucking riding a bike in the woods. Everybody likes to go do that.
Yeah. Now, is he a skier or snowboarder?
He's gone. I've taken him skiing like 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and yeah, it's good. I mean, there's a lot to learn there. So, I don't know. I didn't take him. I didn't get as much into that like I did with the biking thing.
Bike, yeah.
Just because I mean the biking thing's almost year round. So,
right.
As long as you're willing to go tough out the rain.
Mm-hmm.
Which
that's awesome that he. That's awesome.
Yeah.
The little one, is he going to be a biker too, you think?
Oh, for sure. Interest? Yeah. No, I mean, he has a little Strider bike, where it doesn't have any pedals on it. You stand over it and kick along. And they both started on that, and it's a great way to kind of get them on 2 wheels, and then they just go from there. Shit, he's already gone on. We've gone on little rides in the woods. That's the thing now, is just trying to find a place to go where
it's not like everybody's like out there in your way.
And I mean, you're supposed to stay 6 feet apart, right? That's hard to do on a trail.
Yeah.
Even the place that I like to go, like I haven't gone. Like the last time I went, I mean, there was such a group of people. I mean, and it was just such a thing, it was just sucking all the fun out of the ride because I was so worried about like all the fucking people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's the kind of thing I wish that there was better information out there for all of us in the public to understand, just to understand, what's reasonable, what's not. Riding a bike with a mask on fucking sucks. So,
right.
I mean,
yeah.
And that's the thing. From what I understand, I mean, unless you're wearing a big ultra like legit mask, the big ones protect yourself, but all the other ones are a
protect the other person.
Right. Which is nice. But if nobody else is wearing them, then what the fuck?
Right. Do people wear masks in Portland, or are they kind of giving up on it?
No, I mean, around town, sure, fine, yes. But like what I'm saying, like out on the trail to ride a bike, like nobody out there does.
Right.
Like a couple people have. But everybody else, again, it's the free country of the sacred white guy. And, we will not be impeded in our destiny of riding our expensive bicycles in the woods.
Right.
So, I mean, nobody does. It's also a pretty young folks kind of sport. So, the young folks are a little less likely to give a shit, but I think people just think, hey, we're outside, so it's all good. And I'm like, yeah, kind of. Not really. I mean, I don't know.
And maybe
I just always think about, like, have you ever seen a fucking a sneeze in the slow-mo?
Yes.
High def slow-mo sneeze.
Yes.
Watch that and then tell me how good you feel doing anything right now.
I know. And maybe it's because I'm an old guy, or maybe it's because I'm just like daddy bear, but I'm just like hyper sensitive to anything. And I don't want anybody to be around my kids right now, or me for that matter, which is why I'm perfectly content to being in the house. We might go out, we might walk around the park, just us, walk around the track, stay away from everybody. But I'm not really looking forward to getting and mixing it up with a bunch of people again. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm kind of past all that. I'm fine with just kind of doing my thing on my own.
I just, I mean, I would like to, I guess that's the thing, is that I've never been super social animal to begin with. So I'm not really missing anything there. But the things that, I mean, just the standards interaction with people, and I mean, being terrified of even fucking walking down the sidewalk. And that's You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's got to get dealt with, you know.
Mhm.
And that's what's so fucked up is that, of course, they're going to come out with some bullshit vaccine that is not been tested properly, and so then all the people that would normally be into science and stuff and still are going to go, fuck that, I ain't taking that fucking bullshit thing, whatever the fuck that's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just this whole thing is just so
Yeah,
just
and
strange
it's
to
going
the
to drag
fucking
out.
end.
So my 7-year-old is struggling. Like this remote learning, like she
Mm.
is a people person. She needs her teacher, she needs her friends, and it just breaks my heart to see her struggle every day trying to learn on Zoom. Like it's not working for her. Like
So she's already started classes?
yeah,
Okay.
we're this will be our 4th week starting on Tuesday.
Damn, you guys started early.
Yeah. Well, it gets so fucking hot here that they try to get kids out of school before it gets too hot. So we start early and then we get out in May. Because if you had kids in a school building going into June, they'd boil.
Even with, I
So
mean, if you had like, I assume you got the AC cranking. But
yeah, but the minute you step outside, I mean,
uh,
it's oppressive back here. So you can't
no, I
send them
get
to
you.
recess or anything. So they get
Yeah,
kids out of school. We're out of school way before Memorial Day.
I
We're
got
out of school, so we start early.
you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I know like when they first got sent home, I mean that was so chaotic that the school for the last 3 weeks or whatever the fuck was just stupid anyway.
yeah.
I'm curious how it'll go now. I don't know. I'm just blown away that there's any schools even trying to operate right now.
When are
And
you? When do you guys start?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah. So yeah, we're in week 4, and both kids, 2nd grade and 6th grade, are full Zoom, and it's so
Mm,
frustrating because just take and roll, right? There's 15 kids in our class. They go on, they say, Susie, Johnny, whoever, I'm here, here, here. By the time it gets around to the first kid, a 2nd grader is off doing something else, right?
yeah, I mean,
And then and they're going through and doing their work, and it's like in the classroom you can like get a kid in a pod and talk to them, but on Zoom you're damn near one-on-one like we are. And imagine having 14 other people on this call,
oh, dude, I
and
saw it when
you
he
know
first did it, and like, cause like all the kids, dude, he fucking showed me, man, and like the kids like figured out how to change their background to like all sorts of stupid shit,
yeah,
and like the teacher would mute them, but the kids could unmute themselves. I mean, it was just,
it's chaos. It's
oh, it was
complete
crazy.
chaos.
So
And then just like my 6th grader is fine. Like she's good with technology. She's always been good with technology. She's got her iPad
mm,
and her Chromebook, and she's doing her work on the Chromebook, and she's watching a lesson over here, and she's more like my wife. You can talk to her. I'm more hands-on. I got to touch it and feel it. She
mm,
can hear it and write it down and be good. She's like my wife like that. That's not me. And my
mm,
2nd graders like me. My 2nd graders got to do it in
yeah,
order to understand it. And my 6th grader, she's up in her room. We bought her a desk, and she's got her little mounted thing, and she's good to go. My 2nd grader down here is bouncing off the walls. She's like, teacher, can I share? Can I share? And the teacher's like, hold on, I got to talk to these other kids. And by the
yeah,
time
and
she
they're
gets
all
through the
like,
14 other
oh, they're
kids,
all just spazzing out. Yeah,
she's forgotten what she was going to say.
well, sure, yeah, no,
And I'm sitting at my desk, and my wife was over there working with her, and it's just heartbreaking. But at the same time, do I want to put her on a school bus and send her back to school? Hell no.
fuck no.
Hell no. So
Uh,
I have to watch her struggle day in and day out because that's the right thing to do.
yeah, yeah, no, it's, I mean, like I say, I mean, my kiddo, I mean, just seeing, not being able to play with his friends out front,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, that one hurts the most, and like I say, I mean, the other parents in the neighborhood, man, like I said, apparently none of them got the memo that there's anything wrong.
Hmm.
Um,
That's super
I'm like,
frustrating.
you people are just stupid. I mean, you know, um, and I get it. It's summertime, and I get it. It's tough, and I get it that I've got I've got an awesome house with an awesome yard and a fucking pool, and it's made a lot of this really easy to get through to a point, you know. But at the same time, I mean, yeah, I mean, we're all kind of tired of looking at each other. I mean, you know, I love it. We all, I mean, and it is awesome to spend so much time together, but there is something positive about, you know, them interacting at school. I mean, it just,
Have you guys had a birthday party yet in quarantine?
yeah, I mean, it was like a Zoom birthday, you
That's
know.
what we did too. Yeah, we
Yeah.
did the same thing.
That's what I'm saying. But like, I mean, my fucking neighbor across the street, man, they're having another fucking barbecue today. And
Mhm.
you're like, dude, I mean, why is that? I don't know why that's okay.
Well, remember, that's what happened Memorial Day. Everybody thought Corona was over, and everybody went out and partied Memorial Day, and then we had a huge
why,
spike.
who the fuck said it was over on Memorial Day, man?
Trump said it was open over on
I mean,
Memorial Day, remember?
what the hell has changed? I mean, it's,
Remember, he said he wanted the country open by Memorial Day. He
oh yeah,
wanted it open by Easter, but then he pushed it back to Memorial Day. And there was a
how'd that
huge
work out?
spike in the number. Yeah, there was a huge spike in the numbers. I mean,
No, yeah, I'm no way. I mean, like I said, this thing has been either comically mismanaged or intentionally made worse. I can't accept any other explanation.
and neither one is a good option,
Well, fuck. I mean, look.
and neither one is acceptable.
I mean, honestly, neither one was believable. I
Right.
mean, I just, like I say, yeah, I've lost a wee bit of that American exceptionalism.
Mm-hmm.
I got learned so much of for so long. So, yeah.
There's something about real life slapping you in the face that kind of
This ain't even
triggers your
real
brain.
life, though, man. I mean, this is intentionally being made worse. When it didn't for whatever gains for other folks, but
But that's what I was going to say. Who
um,
is this benefiting? That's when I look at something like this and I say,
the chaos is all. I mean, well, fuck. We'll just. You know, unless we're gonna, you know, go till dawn, you know, we can just, you know, drop on the international flavor of the coincidence that so many actions that have been taken over the last 4 years have been to the direct detriment of us as a country
mm-hmm,
and to the direct benefit of Russia.
mm-hmm,
I mean, it that's putting it as mildly as I can fucking put it.
mm-hmm, yep,
And like I say, I mean, if this was in a fucking Clancy novel, people would have thrown that shit on the ground and said, "This is the most ridiculously stupid shit. No one would ever believe this.
exactly,
Jesus Christ, you have no imagination at all.
right,
You fucking hack."
right, yep.
It's so stupid, and it fucking works.
And you know
And
what?
you know what?
You're right.
It's got every single possibility of fucking working again.
Yeah.
And that's what sucks. And can you believe? I mean, you know, you can't leave if you fucking wanted to.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
You're now trapped.
Again, you ever thought 5 years ago, you say American passports are no good
Mm-hmm.
and you can't leave the country?
Mm-hmm.
Would all of those oath keeping 3% patriot fucking gun toting people, it seems like that's the kind of stuff like they'd be up in arms about.
Exactly. Exactly.
But instead, they seem to be lining up for it.
Yep. You can't go anywhere. You are literally trapped.
I mean, that is literally all the shit that they were like. You mentioned Alex Jones this whole long. I mean, that asshole made a living trying to scare the fucking people into believing that all that stuff was happening during Obama's years.
Right.
And
And
then
now it's happening.
now it's actually happening, and those assholes are fucking cheering it.
Right.
I don't. How do you talk to that?
I don't know.
How do you even
I
fucking
don't know.
deal with that? I mean, when things are so, dude, like my little sister is so far gone, man. I don't even fuck. I mean, I ain't fucking talk to her, man. I mean, I don't even know what the fuck I would say. I have nothing. I mean, we're so diametrically opposed to how we view reality
Mm-hmm.
that I don't know where the fuck do I even try to begin with you that doesn't end in about 30 seconds of me going, you stupid fucking person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that's too bad.
It is too bad, and that's what's been so crazy. Is I mean, this has happened to everybody across this country. I'm sure, of people, dividing themselves, and that's, again, that division. Who does that benefit?
Right.
It doesn't benefit us.
Nope, does not
It doesn't benefit
us.
this country one bit.
Not at all.
And so I don't know. I like if it was ever looked at as like, oh my gosh, we're actually under attack. Here's who's attacking us. And it's a foreign outside agent.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, that would be unifying. But
well, at this point, are we too far gone that we could actually unify? I would hope the answer is no.
I would like to think no, of course. I mean, we're obviously, but that's the thing. You know what? I think here's the glass is half full to that question, that you have to work as hard as they've been working to keep us from being unified.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it that way.
I like to think of it that way.
That we're not so divided as similar to like this town is not on fire. We're not fucking Fallujah. There's a couple blocks that have been fucked up for a while, but we're not as divided in this country as the news would like to make us think we are, because that generates clicks and content.
Right. So there's a quote, and I don't remember who said it to give them credit, but there's more that unites us than divides us.
For sure, and that's what I'm saying. And
I don't remember who said that or where I got that from, but that's so damn true.
No, it is, but that's what I'm saying is that, when you ask like, could we be united again? I think the answer is overwhelmingly yes, because the only way that we're this divided now is by that fucking piece of garbage being on TV every fucking minute of every fucking day. Straight up Orwell, big projector in your face, man screaming at you. That's the only way that we've gotten this divided and have been able to stay this divided. And it's getting worse, of course. But that's the only way. I mean, if there was anybody there speaking any message of unity for any amount of time,
even once,
man, I mean, the only way that this division keeps up is by daily fucking feed of garbage.
Right.
And I think they realize that if there was any kind of message of, I mean, fucking hey, this pandemic should have been an opportunity again of being so united as a country.
I mean,
oh
could
my
you
God,
imagine
slogans and fucking pound the virus and fucking whatever, dude? It would have been just, oh my God, it would have been the most unifying thing ever, and it would have been just so cliche, and everyone would be like, oh my God, I get it, all these sayings, they make sense, and they're great bumper stickers, and we're gonna beat it together, and there will probably be a new pink ribbon or whatever,
something.
You know what I'm saying? It would have been, and bam, and that's the thing, like fucking, like the NFL would have been reopened already, and they would have had a new fucking ribbon color for NFL remembers fucking coronavirus month. You know what I'm saying? But
right. Yep. Exactly.
We're gonna just drag this out and tear the fucking country apart because, again, I don't know. I mean,
It's a lack of leadership.
well, I mean, I think we're being led. I mean, I honestly believe our fucking leadership is a puppet of somebody else being told what to do. I mean, honestly, because again, if everything that happens in this country, every major thing that's happened in this country, either benefits straight up rich people or benefits Russia, because
Mm-hmm.
it completely I mean, Jesus Christ, we're almost out of NATO. Are you fucking
Mm-hmm.
kidding me?
Right.
I mean, that's not even something you would even comprehend as a stupid
Right.
joke.
Well, we're out of the World Health Organization in the middle of a pandemic.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
Look at that.
every single thing is made to make our country worse. I mean, there is. I can't. I'll listen to an argument and then I'll laugh at it of how anything being done and that has been done over the last 4 years makes our country better.
Right.
I can't think. All I've seen is example after example of us pulling out of treaties and alliances with countries that we've been together with since the fucking end of World War II or even longer.
Yeah.
And somehow we're turning our back on those people and we're fucking
After
aligning
4
ourselves.
years.
I mean,
After 4 years.
all we're doing is lining up with the most garbage people on earth,
Yeah.
and that's being cheered by such a big group of people in our country. That part.
Well,
That
here's the
part.
deal. Here's the deal. It's being cheered by the people who've been fighting against this for 50 years, and now those people are cheering for it, and it's what they've been fighting against. That's the part that I don't understand.
I don't think those people have been fighting against anything, man. The only thing they've been fighting against is paying taxes.
Yeah.
That's the thing, man. These fucking people will burn this country down just so they don't have to pay taxes.
Yeah.
They really do not give a shit. I mean, all this hoorah, and that's why I've been so disillusioned with the flag and patriotism and fucking Boy Scouts and all of it, man. I mean, and maybe I'm just a latecomer to the party, and people realized this a long time ago, and are like, "Where the fuck have you been?" I mean, just naive, I guess. But
Well, you know what, man? That might be a good place to pause. And that might be a good place to pick up next time and talk about what is patriotism? What does the flag mean? What does it mean to me? What does it mean to you? And we can really take the time and delve into that, because I think I've got a perspective on it that you might not have heard, maybe similar to Kel's dad and Kel's
no,
brother.
for sure. No, I think and that is awesome. No, that is definitely. It's something that like I said. I mean, it's there's so much that I've that's crossed my mind that I maybe in a way it's fucked up that it took something like this to get me to even think about things like this.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But no, it's good to have the eyes opened,
Yeah, and I think that'd be a good thing to talk about.
Yeah,
I also, as we get into September, I do want to get your opinions coming up the line on 9/11 and what it meant then and what it means now, because I've got some pretty strong opinions on that as well.
Man, I mean, right on. Yeah, no, that I love it. I mean, fuck, what is today? Today's the 5th, so
yeah,
we do our next show in 7 days. That'll be just before the 9/11 stuff, so that'll be on point.
And I think that'll be perfect to talk about, because if you want to talk about, I know we said we were going to stop, but if you want to talk about when some of this stuff started, I can draw a line back to that day.
Man, I tell you,
and how our freedoms have been broken down to the point to where Trump couldn't exist if that didn't happen. If you get my point.
Man, like I said, like I mentioned earlier, I mean, like even Obama, man. Again, we need the producer sitting on the side on the lapper to look this shit up. But there is a speech I remember hearing him, and I didn't listen to him hardly at all, because it was like, man, the country is on cruise control, everything's good. I don't need to tune into this shit.
Mm-hmm.
We're good, But I remember hearing something, and he was talking about, because there were some things, that I was, I mean, the amount of like wiretapping, the amount of like, NSA stuff that only expanded under his time. I was disappointed with that. And I remember hearing him say, in direct reference to the Patriot Act and to executive orders, and that to beware of these powers and what, future presidents would be able to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like I'm keeping this in check and you ought to be glad for it, but not everybody's going to be like me. God
Right.
fucking damn, do we not even know?
Right.
But man, that's what's so frustrating about so much of this, because like I hear so many people going, oh, all of our country was based on gentlemen's agreements. And I mean, you and I both worked in law.
Mm-hmm.
And these people's only jobs is to write law. And you telling me that, I mean, you're talking millions of man hours
Mm-hmm.
of congressional, senatorial, all the associated judicial, all the just millions of attorneys that have been involved in that. Nobody noticed that? Nobody noticed this is all just gentleman's agreement. There wasn't any I's dotted or T's crossed that nailed this shit down. Y'all were too busy coming up with some new law about what fucking bathroom room I'm supposed to go take a shit in. Or, I mean, are you fucking kidding me? The
Mm-hmm.
fucking core of our fucking goddamn country was kind of left a little bit gray.
A little bit gray.
And only now is that being exploited. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I think there's a lot to dive
I mean,
in there.
I've heard so much that, like, oh man, this next administration, first thing we got to do is get in there and write a bunch of new laws and really, really nail this stuff down. Fuck. What you been doing up till now?
Right.
I mean, I know Starbucks is sweet and all, and lawyers love coffee. What the fuck y'all been doing?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, and again, I only worked in law. I didn't graduate anywhere. And I would love to have some experts fucking, explanation for this then. But how and I know it's late and I'm dropping F's and I mean, whatever. It's YouTube, so you can fucking curse. But like I said, I mean, you're talking like literally millions and millions of man hours, say even from the 1950s. And fuck it, you could go way further back than that.
Right.
You go way for, because they're talking about the foundation of our fucking republic is based off fucking gentlemen's agreements, and that's why all this shit's going down right now. And there's no checks and balances after all. And all the checks and balances that we ever learned about, fucking, the president, the judicial, the executive, and the fucking
legislative.
Oh yeah, all checks them out.
Right.
Now, how's that working out right now?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, apparently our next episode will be congressional learning and constitutional law.
How a bill becomes a law.
Fuck, man. I know, honestly, man. I mean, I remember that cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know that fucking Mitch McConnell leading the Senate has got a stack of fucking bills on his desk, and he prides himself on not bringing any bills to a vote on at the Senate. And how does that not get you just the fucking banhammer? How do you not?
Right.
I mean, isn't that just like admitting to a fucking crime?
It is. It's collusion, right?
I mean, it's
think of it this way.
It's not even collusion; it's dereliction of your duty. I mean,
it is.
You're literally saying, "I'm not doing my job. My one job is to bring bills to the fucking vote," and I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to do it. If I told my boss, "Hi, I'm here to sell stuff,"
but I'm not going to sell stuff,
I don't think I'd still get a paycheck.
I don't think
so. I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, there's so much fundamental stuff right now that I don't. If all it takes is a new administration and a bunch of new attorneys, then boy, I can't wait to see those new attorneys in action.
It's going to be a fun 6 weeks.
Man. Yeah, fucking A.
So I will give a little tease for next time. One thing I
Okay,
will
fuck it.
talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to give you another tease.
All right.
There is a legitimate way that the president can be voted out of office and not have to leave. Do you know this? Say no so I can tell you about it next time. Even if you know it. I've looked this up.
A legitimate way. Well, gosh, I sure hope our good friends in Moscow have looked it up too. Oh, I'm sure they have. A legitimate way for the president to be voted out. Now, are you referencing like, I've heard a mention of him declaring victory before like all the mail-in votes are counted, not waiting for those to be counted.
You are in the realm. But again, I want to give it a tease.
All right.
Give people a reason to watch the second episode because it's wild. And I've looked it up. And it's one of those things that is in the Constitution, but it's not in the Constitution.
See, now
kind of that gentleman's agreement you were talking about.
See, our next show, goddamn. See, I mean, we need. If we make enough money, we need to make enough money with this to where we just do this every fucking night. Because I could do this every fucking night.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. So,
damn.
I want you to think about that. It's in the Constitution, but not really in the Constitution. But it is lock solid law.
Man, now, if there, I mean, if there's a Jamalism, if I've ever heard one, that's in the Constitution, but it ain't in the Constitution. What the fuck? All right.
I'll explain it to you. I'll explain the whole thing to you. It's gonna make your mind warp because when it was told to me, I didn't believe it. I thought it was bullshit, and I looked it up, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
So are you saying this is what we're in for then?
Potentially.
Is this your prediction?
Potentially. There's gonna have to be a perfect storm of things, but if the last 3.5 years haven't been a perfect storm, I don't know what they've been.
They've been a preamble to the shittiest fucking poem I've ever fucking heard in my life.
Yeah.
I don't even fucking like poetry.
Yeah.
I love this. I love this though, man. Fucking
this
it,
is
man.
great.
I'm telling
This
you,
is great.
I could fucking do this literally all night long.
This is great.
And you are doing it all night long. Good Lord. Yeah.
Yeah. East Coast, West Coast.
Boy, I tell you what. Right here, right. There it is. Fucking that hurts. Nah, man. I mean, it's nice because I tell you, like in my office, like when I work there, obviously, my opinion is not really wanted.
The majority?
Nah, it's not wanted. I'm not paid for my opinion there. And that I'm there to listen. But now I'm not there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's nice. But yet, it's nice to actually, bounce some of these ideas around, because otherwise I'm just stuck here in the basement going, what the fuck is going on in this world? Am I the only one taking crazy pills? So yeah, no, it's been awesome. I
look forward to doing this at least once a week.
Nah, man, I for real, and
yeah.
I just think it's a lot of fun. And you know what? I mean, because you and I come from that generation of, I mean, I don't know how you came from, but I know I came from, like, you're not that fucking special. If you're from our generation, man, I'm sorry, you just ain't that fucking special.
And you don't impress me. You really don't impress me.
But you know what? But here's the thing: is that I'm realizing, like, after watching all the other shows, and whatever, I was like, man, I can do that. I was like, I can talk about fucking current events, and talk about entertainment, and talk about sport, or I can talk about whatever the fuck I just need somebody to talk to, and and so I don't know. It's been good, and I think honestly that other people would enjoy this as well. Um, and one like one.
We'll get better. We'll figure out our flow.
Oh
We'll
no, for
figure
sure.
out the
One thing I've always wanted to do, and I know I don't think we can do that because this is not a live thing. This is going to be like a tape thing, and then we put it on the YouTubes or whatever.
yeah.
But like I've always wanted to do, like, caller, you're on the air.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you get the crazy fools that are out there that.
Well, I tell you, once we put a couple episodes on YouTube and we get some hits, we can go live on YouTube.
Because you do that, right? I mean, you
Yeah.
have like a live show.
Yeah.
But even if we
go,
didn't do the live show, like, because like the whole thing, like you put the show up there and then people watch the show and then they comment about it, and they.
But if we wanted to do a live show, we could put it on live at a time where people are watching.
That would be wild. And I gotta say, like I don't know how. I mean, I watch a lot of fucking YouTube, and I'm just saying that, like, some of the biggest shows, like I would think, like CNN doing like a fucking live broadcast of a debate or something.
Mm-hmm.
He's got like 1,200 people watching that shit. Now, some fucking 16-year-old showing off their fucking candy collection or some stupid shit will have, dude, Jesus Christ, my
3
kid,
million.
dude, my kid watches fucking people playing video games.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about this too. Oh my God. I kind of want to choke myself because I'm like, why don't you just go play your own video games?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I'm watching this guy. I'm like, you don't even own that video game that he's
my
playing.
daughters watch other girls opening up toys.
Ah, fucking hell. Man, that's what I'm saying.
They watch unbox videos. And those videos will have 3 million hits on them.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. It's crazy. And so if live events that are supposed to be meaningful in our world get like 1,200 fucking people watching them, you know what I'm saying? I think, between my wife's abilities of putting all this on the channel, building
Editing
all that,
it, yeah.
editing all that,
yeah.
your knowledge of I mean, fuck, man, you got knowledge about a gazillion things. I don't know. I just think that could be. I think it would be fun.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun ride, man. I'm looking forward to it. All right, next week I'm gonna tell you how he could lose and still win.
Right. Constitution.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you. It's in the Constitution, but it's not.
I got to brush up on my Constitution. Or I'll just take your word for it.
I'll bring you links. I'll bring you proof. I'll show you. It's
That's
crazy.
what I'm talking about. And you know what? Maybe we'll sprinkle in some fun videos. You know,
it can't be too heavy. We'll lighten
up.
No,
see, and but yet it can't be just bullshit all the time either, man. Because people, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these shows, and I get it, they're comedians and they don't want to talk about the fucked up shit in the world. But
it's out there,
man. We got to talk about that fucked up shit in the world.
It's out there, man. It's out there.
I think. I mean, I need to talk about it, and I know that my family doesn't want to hear me talking about it, and I don't really want to talk to them about it, quite frankly, all the time. I love. I mean, I'm here. I mean, even already tonight, some of the perspective that you were sharing is, and even what you're talking about for the next episode too. I don't know. Everything about it is just great. It's just it's a lot of fun, and I think people will appreciate. And people appreciate that. That's it. That's all it is. People appreciate that. That I think a lot of folks have the same questions. And a lot of people are confused about a lot of the same shit. And I'm not trying to come off like I am the authority on anything. That is for certain. But
I mean, I look at it, dude. I'm 47. I've been there. I've done a lot of things. Have I done it all? No. But have I done a lot? Yes. Have I seen a lot? Yes. And I want to talk about it. I want to tell people what I'm thinking. And I think there's a lot of stuff going on right now that I think the wrong opinion is out there, and I want to talk about it.
Well, and I just think that our take is our man, from a lot of the shit that I've watched, man, our take is every bit as legitimate as that shit. I'm just it just is. It just is, So I mean, now it's just get the word out there,
Yep.
and that'd be wild stuff.
So 2 things we're going to talk about for sure next weekend:
Constitution,
and
and not just if you can take a shit. We can
Right.
talk about that too.
Yes.
Fiber,
Yes.
but
9/11.
9/11,
Constitution.
9/11 Constitution talk. Oh, you know what? I'm going to bring up the game of Go.
Oh.
That's going to be my contribution. Are you familiar?
The game of Go. Tell me about it.
Word. Check it. It is the oldest continual still played game in the world. So you got a board like this.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You got a grid pattern, yay. You got little black pieces. Got little white pieces. And there's 2 players. And you take over territory and you surround each other. And it's a crazy game. It's a lot of fun.
Is it similar to Othello? Something like that?
Possibly. I remember that game vaguely from a kid. It's got elements of chess, but it's older than chess. It's a crazy basic game, but it is a crazy dynamic game and a very complex game that you would never think. You go, oh, it's 2-player. 1 player is white, 1 player is black pieces, and you try to surround each other and take over territory. It's simple as pie. You think, oh fuck, what's more basic than that? Nothing really. It's super basic, and it's also like the most complex thing you could ever effing do. And I just got it a couple weeks ago and been playing it with my kiddo, and I watched a video, and I would suggest you watch as well, because I here's my contribution for next week. AI. How good is it that we're teaching AI to do stuff like this? Because the big benchmark that just happened was AI just beat the Grand Master of Go. Because AI beat the Grand Master of chess players like fucking years ago. AI beat that, like Big Blue or whatever the fuck it was called. The computer beat the Grand Master of chess several years ago. But it was always thought that there's no way the AI could ever beat the Grandmaster of Go, because they showed like this graph. They showed like this graph of chess, like how many millions of variations of moves can happen from like a game of chess, and you see like all these possibilities of every move you could possibly make, right? And I mean, it's staggering how many moves you could make in chess if you think about every combination of move. That's a fraction of how many moves you could make in Go.
Interesting.
And so, and the like people describe the game of Go as like life altering, like perception changing, like it changes their whole world. It's fucking. I mean, people could probably talk that way about Pokemon, but the point is it's such a big achievement for AI to have beaten grandmasters in this game. And that's pretty recent development.
Wow. I'm going to have to look into that for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely going to look into that.
So I was like, hey, let me see what this game of Go is about. And it is a lot of fun. I recommend it. I know you would dig the shit out of it. I mean,
yeah, I love stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, AI.
All right.
It
cool,
might
man.
just kill us all.
That's a good way to end it.
Or
that was awesome.
Or it might serve us some fucking soft serve ice cream, and fucking clean your floors
and take us to
and
Mars.
Not kill us all. That would be sweet.
Take us to Mars. Yeah.
Mars, boom, yeah, fucking SpaceX and electric cars and
We got to talk about. We have so much to talk about. We have so.
This
we
also
we've-
could probably be the result of like not chatting for a decade or so.
I know, right?
So but that means we
We
got
got
a
a
lot
lot
of
to catch up
content.
to.
We got a lot of
Yeah,
content before we're going to run out,
absolutely,
and then we'll take another
absolutely.
decade break.
Cool. All right, my brother. Let's
Hey.
do this again next week. We got our stuff we got to talk about. My thing, I'm going to go and I'm going to research Go. You're going to research the Constitution, and we'll do this again next week.
Awesome, man. Take care of
All
yourself.
right, man. I'll see you next week. All right. All right, bye.